Ah, beautiful. Good to be here. Good to be alive. I am admittedly really tired. But we got a thing. Alrighty, let me get things rolling here. I'm gonna drag in the caster. 1 second. Oh good, are you alive?
Hello there.
Welcome, welcome. We're I think it's Friday. It's a great time. It's a good day to react to some plays, and maybe give
Yeah.
out the Deranged Tech Award.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh well, we have one more game to play apparently. But if they don't fucking play, that's not my problem.
Well, supposedly it's in 20 minutes, so we'll see
Allegedly.
how that goes. Maybe we can review it after we finish
Sure.
reviewing the other games.
That could work out. Also, Blue Black is in Twitch chat. Good shit, good shit. Yeah, we apparently we still have Haku and Cat Bomb still to play, and for some reason they left it to literally the very last minute. So if their game isn't concluded by midnight, they both take a 3-0 or a 0-3 loss, and that's not my problem.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, I figure this would be a nice opportunity to look at some of the replays from this week. We didn't do any streams this week just because I think people were busy. I myself was quite busy, so we are a bit behind on that respect. So let's see if we can queue up a couple of these. The games from this week were pretty interesting. We had some really wild shakeups as far as the standings. Had a couple of pretty interesting wins. We saw Siege and JC take their first wins, which is quite exciting. As well as
Yeah.
we saw a couple of interesting losses, I feel like. Lemons took an L this week, which is a bit unfortunate. As well as actually Mox taking an L, which sounded, that feels pretty bad, but I guess we'll find out more in the replays. Roughly E-Town, for how long you're gonna stream for? I don't know. How many replays do we have? Like 6?
Probably gonna be probably it's probably gonna be like a couple hours at least, right?
Most likely. I'd say a minimum hour and a half.
Yeah.
That feels pretty safe.
Depends on how fast we can get through all of these.
Yeah, so you know what, let's start things off with, we'll just go in order of games played, so, we started the week off actually pretty strong here with Jace versus JC, and I think my favorite of the named games is the Battle of the Jaces, so, let me get that queued up here. I'll screen share it here. This game was funny. I admittedly did watch all the replays. I was actually there for a good number of the actual games themselves. But this is one I wish I got to saw in person, but that's alright. So as far as lineups, it's quite interesting here. JC is rocking some new pickups here with Ogrepon, Hearthflame, and Volcanion actually being some notable ones. As well as, I think she's got some comfort picks with the Hoopa Unbound, Latios, Regieleki, and the Galarian Wheezing. All four have done pretty well for her so far this season. I think the Latios actually has been a slight underperformer, if I'm being honest with you. I think it just hasn't, shown quite as brightly as the others. I know the Hoopa has actually packed in quite a bit of heat so far, which is quite awesome.
Yeah, we've seen well, the Latios I know in I forget if it was week 1 or 2, we had a unfortunate switch in where JC thought it was Focus Sash and
Oh, that was week
didn't change
2,
the
yeah.
item.
But I think it was
Yeah,
expert belted, which was so
right.
unfortunate.
Um, but yeah, the Hoopa has been consistently a pretty good performer. I think it's picked up at least 1 KO in every game so
Oh, for
far.
sure. I think it's actually,
Uh,
I think it's like 3 or 4 kills deep this season so far.
yeah,
That was even before this week.
mhm.
So it's looking super good.
Yeah, every mon on JC's draft is a huge threat. And every trade that JC's made has just increased the number of threats in this draft.
Oh yeah, it's been so funny. JC picking up like, I see a trade go through. I'm like, oh, what's this? This is Ogre upon Hearthflame. Like, fucking
Yeah,
sweating a
picking
little
up
bit with every trade.
yeah, Ogrepon and recently Golurk and Meloetta.
Oh man, oh the Meloetta is such a cool pick. It is a mon that I really wish I could have found the space for in my draft. I've theory crafted Meloetta to be really good. It's really hard to use, but I think it's super cool. Being one, the only sleep inducer in the game, or at least in legal in the format after the sleep ban. But also being kind of like hyper flexible in a way because you can either play it as a special sweeper or you can try to apply a sleep and then go physical sweeper with the pirouette form. Super cool mon, and with Terra you can pack a lot of heat, juicing your move options like close combat or even knockoff to some pretty staggering numbers.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
overall, really cool pickups to be sure. And taking a quick look at Jace's team, this feels like a very comfortable team for him. I think for the most part, this is what he's wanted to take and has taken for a lot of his games. It's been a mixture of the same kind of core. I think Tauros, Rotom Heat, and Dragonite have come to just about every game he's played. The Tinkaton is back, I think, for its second. I don't think, is it the second or third week in a row?
I believe it's the third week in a row.
Week?
Yeah, it's
Wow, okay.
come on every week. Yeah.
So this core seems really consistent, and then he's flexed in and out. I think the Slowking and the Cetitan, both of which make such a good core with that Slush Rush, Belly Drum. It's tough to use, but oh my god, if it gets off, it just kind of wins the game by itself.
Yeah, definitely is. Definitely a mon that can get out of hand very quickly.
Absolutely, and you know what? Let's just get into it. I think what we'll do, we'll just watch the game straight through unless there's like a play that's like absolutely deranged. And then I think we'll take a bit of time to kind of highlight, potential critical moments and things that maybe the players could have done differently or that we think were really cool. That sound alright?
Sure.
All right, let's give it a go. Hoop unbounds the lead, staring down the Tinkaton. It's really interesting. Going hard into Ogrepon Fire as rocks come up. Seems fine. The Terra Water is so sick.
Yeah, Terra Water is a great little move there.
The Gigaton comes out, but the Hornleech picks up the KO, bringing Ogrepon Fire back to full. As the Dragonite comes in. Play rough!
Yeah, and this is one of the things that makes Ogrepon really strong, right? It's got just a really good pool of coverage moves. Besides having obviously very strong stab and things like Ivy Cudgel and Hornleech, Woodhammer, Power Whip kind of thing, right?
Oh, for sure.
Your third attack and really your second and third attacks after Ivy Cudgel can kind of be anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have you have obviously this player off here. You have things like Stomping Tantrum, Knockoff, like you mentioned earlier. But yeah, Ogrepon showing really good value here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this Titan will pick up a KO.
The Steel Titan actually was able to just get off too, because that +4 Earthquake will just kill people. But it will fall to the Ogrepon with the Hornleech. Not having the Slush Rush really just hurts its effectiveness.
Yeah, being out of snow is
it's just
pretty
brutal.
rough.
as Tauros comes in, eats a Luster Purge. That's super safe. Rotom heats the last mon here. Eating the Luster Purge really, really well, actually. With a pinch parry for the heal, but it's not going to be enough. Unfortunately, the overheat comes out, doesn't do quite enough damage, and goes down to the Latios. Quite a fast game this one was.
Yeah, pretty clean game. Ogerpon putting in the work there.
Oh yeah, this and we didn't even see the Weezing or the Volcanion come out of JC's team, which is really cool.
Yeah, notably the switch in for the Slowking for the Hoopa coming on the Slowking to stop the chili reception was a big deal here.
Yeah,
I think if
so
the snow
big.
goes up, this is a very different game, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, the snow coming up basically seals the deal because pivoting directly into the Titan. Well, it might have been more interesting just because I feel like Titan really wants that belly drum, but if you belly drum in front of a Hoopa Unbound, you're still gonna take a lot.
Yeah, and it did actually do so. It's just that the Drain Punch wasn't enough to KO after the Citrus Berry.
Right.
But it would have taken a bit less damage here, right? It would have taken, well, it would have been about like 35 to 40% rather than 20.
Right.
So a little bit less chance to be chipped down by something like Priority from the Regieleki or I don't know what else on this team gets priority. I don't think anything else actually. Maybe quick attack from Lupin, if that's the fourth move. I'm not sure.
Young bestie. Wait, what the fuck with the prime sub? Sakai, I appreciate you. Thank you very much. Very based. I think this guy this might be a great asset to the company.
Yeah.
I appreciate you. Thank you very much. You've afforded me my next bottle of Vallejo chainmail metal, which I'm running out of. Actually, I need to go to this. I need to go to the store and get another bottle. Yeah, I think actually, if the Titan came out and didn't get hit, I don't know off the top if how much the Hyperspace Sphere would have done. But if he clicked belly drum anyway, I think it may have still gone down.
It may have, yeah.
Because the Drain Punch because assuming it takes like at least 25 to 30% off of the hyperspace, and then chipping itself down 50, and then the Drain Punch still dealt about 56. So in snow, you would say what, like 25. It still actually would have gone down, I think.
Yeah, the important thing is that it's faster, right? And if it hits the, I mean,
right, so
it's obviously faster than the Supa.
But he has to go for the attack is the thing. But if he's clicking belly drum every time, then it's a bit different.
Right.
Is that a drink? What the fuck? No, it's paint. Although, paint can be a drink if you're brave enough. You want to have a sip of my my Pro Acrylic Green, or how about my Noble Skin Dark Brown Speed Paint? It's pretty good. I'm a big fan of Vallejo Game Color Silver. But yeah, I think that's for pretty critical moments. It kind of felt like JC sort of just positioned really, really well. The switches were pretty much on point where they needed to be. I think the only tragic thing was the Aleki missing the Thunder Cage against the basically dead Titan.
Yeah, I wonder if that would have KO'd, actually.
I think it would have, just because the base damage is high enough. Coming off of the Transistor boosted Aleki.
True.
Into, I would assume, a standard like max HP, or like a mix attack HP speed to Titan. It should still go down to even a min, like, zero invested Thunder Cage, because I think it's like base like 100 or something. It's like really high.
Yeah,
like,
Thunder Cage, it's like base 70 or 80, I think, right? It's not quite Magma Storm, but
yeah. It's still up there, and then with Transistor boosting it by 1.3, it'll still pick up a KO when it needs to.
It's base 80, yeah. Oh yeah, that definitely would have KO'd looking
Yeah.
at the math. Yeah, even at 0 investment.
So I think that this is maybe one of the only unfortunate turns, and it's just a differential changing. Like, otherwise it didn't really affect the outcome of the game, because the Titan sticks around, Ogre Pawn eats that Earthquake like a kind of a champ actually, and then picks up that KO with the Horn Leech.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's pretty much all she wrote, really. I think the only unfortunate, the other, I guess, potentially bad play or positioning was the Slowking just having to stare down the Hoopa. Because, oh my god, that Hyperspace Fury just deleted it. But also, I think, let's not forget, Slowking is more specially defensive, so even with investment, I'm not sure if that would have saved it.
Mm-hmm.
Coming off of, like, a base, well, like 160 attack stat or something. That's pretty gargantuan as far as numbers go, even through invested defenses. But yeah, picking up that KO was pretty important, I feel like. And then actually losing the Dragonite really early, I think sucked. Like, that felt pretty rough too. Because a setup Dragonite, with the Dragon Dance up, potentially could have gotten through a couple of these Mons. It would have definitely pressured that Latios quite a bit here. And even the Volcanion, and obviously you could have one-shot an Alecki with that boosted Earthquake. But losing that super early just is a bit rough.
Yeah, I think, definitely I would have tried to leverage, the Dragonite a bit better against the rest of this team, because it does have the potential to kind of blow through everything if it gets a couple of Dragon Dances off.
For sure. And I think, kind of another thing is this Tauros just this just looks so bad into this team. Unfortunate side effect of how the matchmaking ended up, and like how the team building differences went.
Yeah. Tauros is like a good Pokemon. It just, in this match in particular, it was not that. It wasn't very useful in this matchup.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there wasn't really a good place to switch it in. I don't think there's like a Pokemon that it really wants to look at.
Yeah, exactly. I think if I were Jace, I would have considered maybe just using the Tauros as sack fodder even. Bringing this in to take a hit, or maybe live and get off an attack just to chip, may have just been a better use of its existence. Because the fact that it was, left to the very end as his last switch in, as the Rotom kind of just, I think just Volt switched.
Yeah, I believe so.
That just feels really rough, Because it goes Latios switching it on the Volt switch. Didn't take quite enough, and then Tauros comes in. And I think even if Ogerpon stayed in, I'm fairly certain Ogerpon would have lived, because I believe Grass resists Electric. So the resisted switch probably is fine, and then going Horn Leech, or Play Rough even feels okay, because I think that either of those would have killed Tauros. I think Horn Leech may have been more of a guarantee. Assuming this is your standard, like, max attack, max speed Ogerpon.
Yeah, I think so. I'm not sure exactly what the calc is, but
I feel fairly certain of that, just because the ranges are pretty close. But wow, yeah, this was such a great game for JC. Rounding out that week 3 score with going first win of the season, and it was a good one too. Ogerpon, I think, picked up what 3-4 kills that game. That was insane.
three KOs for Ogerpon in this game.
So good. I think Hoopa picked up a couple more too. Definitely got the KO on the at least on the Wheezing.
Yeah, Hoopa picking up only one KO, but a very critical one, right?
Yeah, that KO needed to happen, otherwise this would have still been quite the different game. So props to JC for piloting that. Oh man, I want Jace's team to pop off. It feels like it has all the tools, but I think that Snow Switch Belly Drum Titan, that might be bait.
I think it's good,
it's
but
good,
I
but
think
it's hard.
yeah, identifying the right time to go for it is always a little bit difficult, right?
Yeah, and I think for the major, I would say pretty confidently for newer players, going for that kind of a risky, setup option is really scary. Actually, like I'm just not sure if that's the right thing to do. Um, Not to say don't take risks, don't play aggressive. I'm just thinking it's just such a hard combo to set up for because
I
you
think
are actively cutting your Titan down to like no HP.
right. I think in this game he was actually pretty well set up for it. I think the real mistake here in this game was going for Future Sight first.
Yeah, instead of just going strictly chilly reception straight up.
Yeah, if you hit chilly reception right away, um, it's much better because one, you get your Titan in sooner, and even though you're facing down the Hoopa, with the snow defense boost, I think you should live most hits unless it's like Choice Bandit or something like that, or Choice, like Specs.
I think
I think you should live.
I think an important question we're not asking ourselves is: isn't chilly reception a negative priority move?
No, it's actually not.
Oh, that hurts even more then. Then yeah, even more so, just should have just gone for the chilly reception straight up because that. I guess also in fairness though, he maybe didn't expect the Hoopa to be zero speed invested. Because
Yeah, potentially.
that felt like if you're not paying attention to it, that felt like a weird maneuver. Like Future Sight feels safe into anything except Hoopa. At least as your stare down thing.
Yeah, and Future Sight is generally very strong, and I think like there was an okay case to use it here, but yeah, knowing that the Hoopa is most likely faster than the Slowking, like it means that you have to switch out.
Actually, hold on a second.
Manually?
No, we're a little off here because the Hoopa switched in on the Slowking's Future Sight turn.
Right. That's what I'm
but
saying.
Then, oh no, but Hyperspace Fury outsped and killed anyway.
Yeah, so knowing that the Slowking is most likely slower.
Oh, I see. So he could have predicted the
switch out manually, right? Like I think Future Sight is good here because in a turn, or like in a different scenario, obviously using the Future Sight, there's not a lot of things on JC's side that wants to take a Future Sight plus whatever's coming at it, and so switching in the Hoopa does end up being like the correct quote unquote play in that situation because it's a dark type and it's immune.
Right. Oh, I see.
It's just that
so
in this case, you know that this is a dark type that can also threaten to one-shot your Slowking, which is not something that a lot of other dark types can threaten to do without setup. But Hoopa being Hoopa with its ridiculous 160 physical attack and 170 special attack.
Yeah, I can get there.
Yeah, has the potential to one-shot, and in that scenario, like that makes this matchup a lot more difficult.
For sure.
In any other scenario, like against any other dark type, I think it is actually a fine idea to click Future Sight. But in this specific case, hitting chilly reception right away is probably it's a much safer play, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think being able to set up because then the Hoopa would have been staring down a snow boosted Titan, could have gone for the belly drum. If JC goes Drain Punch, it won't kill. It would do maybe like 25-26%, and the Citrus Berry heal up would have been putting it back to close to 50.
Right.
And then that snow boosted Titan could have just clicked basically Earthquake into the rest of the team. Except obviously I think Wheezing. But we
Latios.
Yeah, to pretty much just those two, but like it'll have other options for those, like probably an Ice move for Latios, and something for Wheezing, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
But yeah, Earthquake, going Earthquake pretty much the rest of the game would have felt so safe. But I feel like that might just be a difficult read to make, especially if you're a little bit more unfamiliar with some of these mons. I've definitely felt, a little bit of that lack of knowledge in some of these games, which, in fairness, a lot of people are new in this league, so I can totally
Yeah.
understand how, going for like a play might make sense in your head, but then going for it, like, it doesn't pan out.
And not to mention that because this is draft, there's a lot of Pokemon that people are not really probably that familiar with playing against.
Oh,
Like
definitely.
even among, us, the more experienced players, right? Like
Hmm.
we have not seen some of these Pokemon played against a lot of these in like a long time, right?
Absolutely.
So yeah, it's like there's always going to be a little bit of that unfamiliarity, but in this matchup in particular, yeah, like knowing that the Galarian Slowking is actually threatened to be one hit by Hoopa is like a very important thing when trying to
For
set up
sure.
your chilly reception. So
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, wow, this was a great game to watch. Very short, for better or worse. I think better for this stream's purposes, worse for other purposes. But we'll soldier ahead.
yeah, we'll go on to the next replay.
Let's go with the next one. Actually, can you check something for me?
Yes.
Are Haku and Cat Bomb playing now?
Let me pull up my showdown. I will check this for you.
Because we may be able to just spectate the last game if they're.
Yeah, they are actually playing.
Are they in
currently.
like partway through already?
Yeah, they're on turn 9.
Okay, we'll just wait for the replay then.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, let's move on. I think we'll do Lemons
Very interesting
versus
teams,
Siege.
I will say.
I'm sure they are.
But yeah, we'll move on to the next replay for now.
So this one was a big game in my opinion. Little bit of fucking. I think we have a redeemed for drink water. All right, got my. You know what? I forgot I have channel points on, and I forgot one of my rewards after the revamp was drink water. Because every streamer has the arbitrary hydration one. So, cheers. God bless my fucking hydro flask that I keep on at my desk.
Yeah.
Actually keeps my water warm, or cold rather, for like multiple days. It's kind of crazy. Better be drinking that paint. You know what? Let me fucking got some High Lord Blue. Let me just get that in there. Hold on.
Gotta
Alright.
grab the mixing stick.
Yep. Gotta hold on. I got a fresh bottle. You know what? Where's that? I bought a new bottle of Tidal Wave speed paint, and it's another a variant of blue, and I'm gonna try it. I think on some Ultramarines because I couldn't find more Magic Blue, which was kind of shitty. Anyway, as for the replay, yeah, Lemons versus Siege, kind of a big game in my, to me, because Lemons is a, longtime friend of mine, and Siege is, one of my coworkers. We're in the trenches together as we fix people's cars or some bullshit. And as well for Siege, this is sort of, in a way, not redemption, but, revenge, I guess. Because Lemons actually had a crushing victory against one of Siege's and my friends from work, Big Honey. So this is sort of a like a redemption game. So there were some internal stakes. Not that I think Lemons was aware of them, but there was some talks behind the scenes. So this is a really interesting game. And as far as teams are concerned, it's kind of interesting to see these. Lemon's really continuing to lean into his very odd ghost weaknesses. Continuing to bring Mismagius and 2 Psychic types to this week with Latias and Uxie. Both of which are very defensive, which is quite interesting. I thought he would have gone with Azelf instead of Uxie as, going for an offensive Psychic type, but I guess I was wrong there. Continuing to bring the Iron Treads. This thing is kind of put in work this season. It just kind of hits. As well, I think it's his best spinner.
Iron Treads is like probably the second best spinner in the entire game, right?
Oh yeah, I mean it's
at least for draft league purposes.
I mean it's great Tusk in air quotes,
Yeah,
So
Iron Tusk.
exactly. So
But
makes sense. It's up there. And then closing up Lemons' team, he's brought Garchomp yet again. This thing, I mean, it's Garchomp, historical all-star, kind of just goes crazy, and Cantonian Muck, kind of a fun pick. I've actually come around to running, using Muck on teams, especially Cantonian. I think it still has plenty of utility. Only downside is just the Alolan version being part Dark type is so nice. It's really hard to not,
yeah,
want that.
yeah, being immune to the psychic and remove the psychic weakness, obviously a kind of a big deal.
Definitely.
But Cantonian Muck also just a pretty good defensive Pokemon.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's sort of a trademark of Muck in general. It's just super bulky, can take a hit and then punch almost as hard right back, with access to good recovery like items like especially specifically Black Sludge, which is super nice. Taking a look at Siege's team, he's brought. This almost looks like a copy paste of his week 2 and even part of his week 1 team, but I think it's just because he's found his comfort picks in Dragapult, Cinderace, and Feraligatr. Even the Charizard actually coming back here too. I know he brought it last week against his, for his game against Nook, with the express purpose of capitalizing on Nook's son, but we all know how that went.
Yeah, indeed we do.
And what's interesting is he's brought Sylveon this week, which I think is really cool. This is a mon that I think can really put in the work. I find it somewhat hard to use, just because I'm not too big on slower, mixed, supporty offensive mons, and I feel like, to me, it doesn't quite have enough bulk, but I think with investment and careful play, it can really, pull off the, it can actually pull some stuff off.
Yeah, I'm personally a big Sylveon fan. I like that it's got pretty balanced stats between you can lead into offense or defense.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you have like the Wish Pass utility, but Pixelate working for both uh, Hyper Voice and for things like even like Quick Attack
Oh
can be
yeah,
very useful.
I've seen that tech choice before. Pixelate boosted quick attack is really sneaky. Sylveon
Yeah,
might have pretty pathetic physical attack stats, but just being able to get a stab boosted priority move is just quite nice.
especially in this kind of matchup where there's probably going to be at least 2 dragons, right, with the Garchomp and the Latias.
Oh, for sure, yeah. It just looks really good here.
Yeah.
Something I do want to highlight is that Registeel. This is a mon that, like, I didn't expect anyone to pick up, but then Siege proved me wrong and traded for it pretty early. And I'm super excited because Registeel is a monster. There is a good fucking reason it is Terra banned in the league. With Terra, it's pretty much, it can be just unkillable whenever it wants to be.
Yeah,
I feel
absolutely.
pretty comfortable. If I'm Siege, I go pretty comfort picks and just go like iron, like a standard iron defense, bulky, Registeel. It's got 150 base physical and special defense and a pretty healthy HP stat. So it can take hits pretty much all the live long day, and with like a leftovers, it can just heal back up, which is
Especially
quite
into this
nice.
matchup, looking at, if you look at Lemon's draft, he doesn't have a lot of really strong stab against the Registeel. I mean, obviously he has Garchomp and Iron Treads, but Iron Treads doesn't really have a way to boost itself besides booster energy. And if your booster attack, you're much more vulnerable to the likes of Cinderace and Dragapult. And if you're booster speed, well, you're not going to be able to break this Registeel in 1 or even 2 hits, right? Even
For
if with
sure.
Earthquake.
I mean, even the same
yeah,
can be said for Garchomp unless it's running Swords Dance.
right.
After like an Iron Defense, there's almost no way you're cutting through that thing with just an unboosted Earthquake. You really need those Swords Dances to even get anywhere in this matchup.
Yeah, and there's not a whole lot else that really threatens. There's no strong fire stab on this team. There's no strong fighting stab besides, like, I guess there's the potential for a Poliwrath to come out, but that's not particularly good into the rest of this matchup, I think.
Right. I think it would be. I mean, it would be okay into Registeel and then the 2 fire types, but even Charizard can kind of just beat it back. And Cinderace with Libero, it can just go like Libero fighting and then not really care about whatever Poliwrath clicks.
Yeah, Cinderace is not really in that bad of shape against it either. With the Libero to change the typing.
Definitely. So let's get into it, and again, we'll do the same thing. We'll just go through the replay, pause if there's any hype moments worth highlighting. Otherwise, we'll go through it and then just react to a couple of those hallmark turns.
All right.
So Muck lead into Sylveon. Well, that looks really bad. It was Psychic. Curse.
Yeah, Curse is
Curse-
something that Lemons likes to, you know, it's a favored style of his. He really enjoys like setup mons, being able to set up and then become bulky and also, you know, have KO potential.
For sure. But unfortunately, it's now just staring down a Registeel with that Iron Defense, like I said. That was a +2 boosted Drain Punch. It didn't do anything. As Registeel just goes Iron Defense a second time in front of the Muck going Curse for some reason. Okay, so they've allowed Registeel to go back to near full HP and +6. Even that Body Press actually dealt a pretty good chunk. Despite, you know, that Muck being +3, +4 actually.
+4, yeah.
You know, this is a war of attrition now that I don't think Lemons does not win this by the numbers.
I think if he goes up to +6 here,
He might have.
He doesn't, but if he goes up to +6 here, I think he has a chance to actually fight it out with Drain Punch versus Body Press.
Yeah, there may have been a chance.
But switching out here is, yeah, definitely...
This looks okay, as the Feraligatr actually goes Dragon Dance. This Miss Maggie is living on 1 HP with that Sash, picking up the KO with the double Shadow Ball here. That looks really good as Messi comes out. Going Pyro Ball feels very safe, does 26%, which is quite good. That Libero boosted Jump Kick doesn't kill though!
Yeah,
That's
the
the
HJK doesn't quite pick up the KO.
As the Sword Set comes out, he goes for the switch. I'm not sure if I would have switched there. I may have just let the Garchomp go, to be honest.
Switching it to Yuxi is pretty safe, I think. I mean, it doesn't take that much damage from
That's true.
anything, really. It is
U-turn
very
brings in
defensive.
the Riz Lord as Shadow Claw Charizard.
Yeah, this is
That's so cool, actually. That's a really interesting adaptation.
Yeah, physical Charizard is a great tech here, I think.
I really like that. I think it's still safe to go into this Dragapult as Uxie continues to rest hog. It's rolled rest twice. Nightshade picking up the flat 100. I'm not sure if Siege really understood how that move worked, but I think it's an okay option. As the Uxie just goes for a rest here, which I think is really odd, as Meta World Peace comes back out, goes, I assume, for just Iron Defenses. There it goes, +2. Uxie staying asleep, sleep talking, calls a Calm Mind finally, as a Heavy Slime does only 21% as it heals back up to 85. Okay. You know, I heard this game ran long, and I only ever saw the last couple of turns when this originally took place. Now I understand why.
Yeah.
This Registeel's back up to +6, as Uxie continues just to call Calm Minds.
And I think Lemons, I think he misplays some of these turns here. Like, he doesn't manage the rest very well. I think he pulls the trigger a little bit too early.
Yeah, looking at right there, he definitely rested way too early, because now he's just gonna get I think he just gets KO'd here, right? Well, maybe not right here, but after, you know, he has to rest for 2 turns. The second Body Press will come, but he goes for the switch here as Heavy Slime came out. Actually, it was a really cool read. Gets that KO.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was a read or if that was, you know, just random choice, but either way it works out.
Whatever it was great as the Latias comes in and just eats 2 Body Presses and gets knocked out. Registeel taking 40% for its troubles, but it doesn't care. He is living. Yeah, and +6 defense. Yeah. That Drain Punch will do basically nothing. And yeah, Registeel putting 3 kills under its belt already, which is super cool. That Cinderace switch in is, I think, okay. As the Pyro Ball picks up the clean KO.
Yep.
And this is pretty much all she wrote. Uxie on no HP goes down, and Garchomp on no HP will just go down. So, really cool game for Siege here. You know, he's got... I think actually he got all those kills on 2 Pokemon.
Yeah, 3 on the Cinderace and 3 on the Registeel.
That is
Final
super
count.
cool. Ain't no way it's Charizard. Yeah, no, the Rizlord actually, like, maybe not, didn't very much, unfortunately, because the target it was hitting was a resting Uxie, but man, this Cinderace put in some work this week for sure, right next to that Registeel. Really great mons, and Siege really showing off that he's actually, I think he's feeling it out. He's getting an understanding. He's getting there.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely really good adaptations from Siege throughout the weeks. I mean, this is still only week 3, but we're seeing some really interesting move choices,
for
tech
sure.
choices, and also just general team composition. Using the Registeel, the recently acquired Registeel to a big advantage here.
Hmm.
Seeing that, identifying that probably not much is going to be able to threaten to 2-hit KO it or 1-hit KO it. Um, and yeah, just putting in work.
Yeah, definitely super cool.
Hmm. Yeah, very
Uh,
good.
and I think credit to Lemons here. He's found a style that I think he's really comfortable with, and he's really sticking to it.
Yeah, I think he had some pretty clear panic moments where he had a Pokemon that was set up, and he probably could have won the War of Attrition against the Registeel. I think in both cases he could have at least maybe not won entirely, but brought the Registeel down to a more reasonable health total where you can
Hmm.
just hit, button on the Latias. You can hit the Aura Sphere on the Latias and pick up a KO.
Yeah, because prior to that, oh man, it was just really rough because that Uxie, I guess in a way you could call it a misplay even. Just resting so early really just put him off tempo.
Yeah,
Weaving in a
I
Shadow
think
Ball or two would have been really good because he was plus what 3, 4, almost 5.
yeah, I think he was plus 4 or 5 towards the end there, right?
Yeah, and even with a special defense invested Registeel, it's gonna take a decent amount of damage from a Shadow Ball.
Yeah, the
Um,
Shadow Ball at plus 4 will still do a decent chunk, right? And I think you're right on. He definitely could have weaved a couple of Shadow Balls in there. Um, Also switching in the Mismagius uh, raw instead of waiting for a sack,
mhm.
because he did actually have. I remember we talked about this after the game. He did actually have Destiny Bond on this Mismagius.
Oh yeah, if going for that D-Bond
So
would have been really really good there,
yeah, if
but
he was a little bit more patient and just waited for a sack or
mhm.
switched something else to sack rather than giving up the
Yeah, going for that
Mismagius,
naked
straight
switch
up.
into Miss May. Oh, that's so rough.
Yeah.
And he definitely would have outsped. There's no way in hell a Miss Magus is outrun by Registeel.
Hmm. Yeah. So
Yeah,
definitely
that
a few misplays here, but overall, I mean, yeah, Lemons is definitely also getting the hang of the game a bit more. He just
for
has to
sure.
calm down a bit and
I think
think
this is a
about the
game
plays, make
where
safer plays.
his nerves maybe got the better of him. Which it can happen to anybody. Obviously,
Yeah, of course.
it is a game being played at a higher level than casual Pokemon at like a buddy's house. So I can definitely understand. Maybe getting a little out of his head a bit, not keeping his hands on the wheel as it were.
Yeah, for sure.
Really got himself maybe out of whack. But yeah, no, going for the sack to bring in a clean Mismagius, going for the D bond. Just I think even just letting Uxie go down when it way sooner, I think would have been okay. Um, if you're like, okay, Uxie's just sort of stalling, not doing anything, the assessment could have been, I'm just gonna Shadow Ball like 2 or 3 times, let it go, bring in Mismagius, because he knows like, oh, this Registeel only really has Body Press and Heavy Slam, um, so it's not, whatever it clicks, unless basically if it clicks Heavy Slam, it's gonna kill Mismagius, and if it clicks Body Press, it kills everything else. So letting Uxie go down to pick up some damage. And actually, let's not forget, Shadow Ball does have a chance to drop special defense.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So
Yeah.
there is a universe where he goes for like 2 Shadow Balls, rests, talks, wakes up, Shadow Balls twice, or like once, rests, talks. And if they called Shadow Ball, a reasonable amount of times, let's say 2 or 3, like 2 talks, call Shadow Ball, you know, he's giving himself chances to reduce the special defense, and Registeel had no other recovery option besides just letting leftovers do all the work.
Right.
If it had dropped even once, I think, in special defense and gone down to like 67, like 70%, 60%, maybe even closer to like, hopefully it would have maybe gone down close to 50. Letting Uxie go down and actually going in Latias for the Aura, which I think would have KO'd it at -1. So that could have been something, you know, a bit of an out, but you know, I think, you know, if I'm Lemons, I wouldn't feel too bad about this loss. It was just like one potential switch up of the play would have at least brought it, at bare minimum, brought it closer. But you know, this was a tough team. I think this is a tough team to play against if you know, if I'm Lemons and this is what I end up bringing. So I wouldn't feel too bad. You know, there is always next week, and I think Lemons is really like, I've heard him talk about his next week's game, and he's feeling pretty comfortable. Like he's actually now running the calcs instead of just kind of eyeballing the numbers, which I think definitely makes a difference.
For sure, for sure.
And he's been consulting the type charts and stuff like that. I think he's really, you know, every week he's figuring his way out a little bit closer and closer. I don't expect him to take any sort of major loss, maybe the rest of the season, but we'll have to see. As much of a dear friend as he is to me, if he plays me, I'm not gonna hold back.
Yeah, and he's got a tough schedule coming up, I think, right?
Because I believe...
I know I play him in week 5, and he's got Cat Bomb coming up, who we know has a very scary draft coming up this week.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Yeah, he doesn't play me this season, which is tragic. I wanted to play him. It would have been funny. But yeah, you know, he's not got an easy run for sure. He plays Cat Bomb next week for week 4, plays you in 5, and then he actually even plays Haku in 6. And Haku's a solid player. He comes up with some deranged tech, but sometimes it works. Unless it's Trick Goldango hoping to give a Pecha Berry to a Gliscor that doesn't exist. But you know what? It is what it is. And then what does Lemons round out his season with? He does play JC in week 7, which is going to be super interesting. That's a game I need to be
That'll
there
be a
for.
fun game, yeah.
That'll be super fun to watch.
You can see not only, well, I mean, besides the fact that these are two players who have had very fun teams, it'll also be Battle of the Lottie Twins.
Oh, true. Yeah, we get to bring the season to, not quite the full closure, but one of its final games with the Battle of the Siblings with Latios versus Latios. I'm very curious if they both bring their respective Lottie twin, and we'll see which of them kind of carries the torch higher. Historically, it's Latios, but if Lemons plays his cards right, and positions really well, maybe Latios may be able to take home the W. You never know.
Yeah, we'll see.
But let's get into our next replay. And I do see we have our last one submitted to actually, so it'll actually be a while here. And it is Blue-Black versus Mox. And I know Blue-Black, you are in the chat, so shout out to you, pal. We're gonna watch you actually play your game. And as far as games go in the league, as far as like bracket and such, this is sort of a big one. Mox had a great start to his season so far. Like, he went 5-0 at the very start in his first game. His second game was a little bit brutal because I believe he took a loss.
Yeah, he had a close loss in week 2.
Yeah. So this is going to be an interesting one because, Blue-Black has had some unfortunate games. I'm going to hold it over your head. But... this is actually, like, he made a couple trades, and this team actually looks super nice. It's kind of just a variation of the same team he brought last week, but sometimes, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, or at the very least switch it to a better Lilligant form, and maybe that fixes the problems. We got Walking Wake, which I don't remember if this was, like, Life Orbed or something, but I mean, Walking Wake supported by a Torkoal, super strong stuff. Iron Hands, honestly a monster. More known for its VGC performances, but
still very good in singles.
Oh, absolutely. The AV
it's
set.
Not fallen.
goes
very far in the tiers. Yeah.
it just goes to town. If left to
Yeah.
its own devices, it can go sword stance, like offensive, bulky, or you can go assault vest, which is kind of what people take in VGC, which is still very, very good in singles. Like, it's got a lot of options.
Play choice banded just to be an
Yeah.
upfront threat, right?
Oh yeah. Choice band, click fake out, do like 60% to, you know, a non-resisted switch, bring it back, hit it
Yeah.
again for like 60 and pick up a KO or something, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Lots of flex, I think. Despite kind of being one-dimensional as far as its stat spread is concerned, but sometimes you don't need diversity in, you know, your stats. Sometimes you just click the right
Sometimes you can
buttons.
just click buttons, yeah.
And
Definitely.
we got here for the rest of his team. He's got Ting Lu. Not really much needs to be said. It's Ting Lu. Well, you know, it's
Yeah.
a bulky bull.
Best
Dark
hat
brown.
setter in the game.
Oh yeah, definitely. Top 3. I would contest maybe with Gliscor because the Gliscor is a
Yeah,
favorite,
actually that's
but,
true. Yeah, maybe top 3 hazard setter in the game for sure.
Oh yeah. And of course we got Torkoal, you know, funny little turtle, and the Sunsetter in the team, which is, you know, super, super important. And last but not least, his Minior, which I know is a petmon for him. And after looking at the numbers, this might be a petmon for me too. Like, this thing has weirdly good stats and a pretty offensive move pool with options like Shell Smash, Stone Edge, Earthquake, Acrobatics. Like, it's got options for days. And,
Yeah.
you know, even just those 3 moves, they cover almost everything. So you're not
Yeah.
hurting for, you know, odd coverage options.
And yeah, most people play it physically with obviously with like you know, White Herb, Shell Smash for acrobatics, but you can still play it, you know, because it's got equal physical and special attacks. You can actually play it special as well.
Yeah, I've definitely seen Earth Power
I-
show up on a
I
moveset.
would like to see that at some point, but it's got good special coverage, right? You have things like Dazzling Gleam, obviously Earth Power and Power Gem. It gets Psychic, it gets Solar Beam, which could be a fun tech for the Sun team.
Ooh, yeah, actually, I really like that, actually, because then it gives him a sort of a third option as a Sunsweeper, going
Yeah.
Torkoal into Shell Smashing Minior and just clicking Solar Beam. That's actually a super cool adaptation. I kind of like that.
I'd even be super interested in seeing something like a Meteor Beam,
Oh, Power of
like
Meteor Beam?
like Power of Meteor
Oh.
Beam into Solar Beam.
Oh,
That could be really, like a really cool set, right?
that'd be really fun.
Like,
Oh,
just-
man.
just 3 attacks with Protect, or even 4 attacks. You know, Meteor Beam, Solar Beam kind of thing, right?
Yeah, and like
like-
Earth Power and something else.
Right.
Oh, that'd be super cool, actually. Sort of like a bit of an off-sweeper. Kind of a fan.
Mhm.
And then if you didn't want to go that route, you can even probably just take like a Focus Sash, if you wanted to, or some other, like maybe a offensive Pinchberry, you know.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I feel like
I would
after
resist Berry.
after much thought, I feel like this thing can really do, in a way, it can kind of do whatever it wants. It might not do it
Yeah,
super
it's
well,
Yeah.
but it can.
I mean-
It's got options. It's got plenty of options.
Yeah. I mean, you even got options like U-turn and Stealth Rock, right? If you want to just play something a little bit more defensive. But yeah, it's got a lot of options that you can go with.
For
Very
sure.
cool Pokemon. Obviously, not like the best defensive typing, being Rock Flying. You're weak to a good amount of fairly common types.
Mm-hmm.
But it's, you know, it's got decent defenses with the shield up. You know, when
Yeah.
you first send it in.
For sure. Yes,
yeah,
I mean, it's a
it's
great way to
really-
guarantee you soak at least one hit. You know?
Right. It allows you to get that setup turn, you know, with your Shell Smash or with your Meteor Beam, right?
Exactly. And really, that's sort of all you need with this thing. You just need a moment. And then after
Yeah,
that,
for sure.
you can really start going to town on almost anything that gets in your way, which is fantastic. I'm taking a second to move a few things around on my desk, because my desk is a mess. And full of blood angels, but that's different. But let's look at Mox's team here, and in a way, this is such a very odd team, I think, for Mox. He's left behind a number of the things I thought would have shown up, like Hydreigon. I was kind of hoping would come out this week, but he stayed home along with the Goldango, and even the Goldango at home stayed home, being the shiny Berserker, which we saw last week.
yeah.
But let's see here. We got Iron Valley making its return. Delphox actually, I think, making a debut, which is super cool. Landorus Therian, I don't give a fuck about this thing. Tentacruel, I think, for its spinning utility. Smeargle actually being an interesting pickup for this week. We've rounded out with the Hariyama, or Iron Hand's origin, or modern, rather. You know, contemporary. Yeah. So, it'll be super interesting, you know, Smeargle being one of the most flexible mons just in the game by nature of what it can do. And we also now, I just realized, we have the mirror match of the hands. We have...
Yeah, hands versus hands origin.
We have skin hands and iron hands, so... Let's get right into the game here. You can see the leads. Torkoal versus the Smeargle. This feels very okay. Stoneaxe actually coming out here, which is really interesting. Kind of a fan of this, actually, from Mox. Really going for options as far as trying to get those hazards down. With the Sticky Webs also coming out, which is super cool. Little turn scuff there, but Stealth Rocks does come out, and the Smeargle does get burned here. Rapid Spin comes out from Torkoal, actually clearing those hazards kind of perfectly, as Toxic does land on the Torkoal, as he spins again.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the second spin was about. Probably predicting Toxic Spikes.
Yeah, I don't hate that prediction, honestly. Knockoff here finds the life, the Widelands off the Lilligant, as the Toxic does come out, getting that chip damage. But Solar Blade picks up the clean KO from 69%, nice, as Toxic continues to do its chip. Staring down AP fucking AP Nasus. Tinglu does come out. The Psychic, that's actually a really great switch. It absorbs the Psychic very cleanly. As Iron Hands does come, Hariyama comes out, eats an Earthquake, goes for an Endure here. As a layer of spikes is thrown down, Terra Ground comes out for the reversal. But the red card pulls out Smeargle to get that chip in from spikes and hazards as an Earthquake picks up the kill. Heinz comes back out, takes the chip, goes for the reversal. So this is a reversal Endure set as Whirlwind comes out, bringing in the Delphox. It takes a ton of damage on entry. Skill swap here, getting rid of the Vessel of Ruin, but the Earthquake does get the KO. And now I think Tinglu's fire attacks are boosted, but who cares? Constabulary comes out as the Tinglu is saved for Torkoal, and it eats the reversal like a champ. And he actually lets Torkoal go down here, and I'm kind of okay with that. Getting the clean switch into Lilligant, getting the Solar Blade kill on the ground type Hariyama, but he went for the Bullet Punch just to get that chip in. You know, it was a final twist of the knife as he goes. Rengar Field comes out with the -1 attack as a triple Axel connects here. Not quite enough. Oh, but the sub fails, which is a huge play. As Iron Valiant gets switched in here, eats damage from that entry. As another triple Axel comes out, dealing what, like almost 30%. Quite nice there.
Yeah, and even at -1.
Oh, the Solar Blade kills here. Really good stuff. Lilligant really put in the work and really put Mox just up against the wall. And I think that's all she wrote, really. The Hydra Seam gets the free KO, and that's it. We didn't even see Minior or Iron Hands come out, which is pretty wild. Wow, this feels like a weird game, because this does not read to me like the same guy who brought in a Tinglu, took 57%, and wondered why he couldn't Whirlwind.
Yeah, definitely some better plays out of Blue-Black this week. Also some pretty rough plays out of Mox this week as well. Admittedly, I think the red card was a bit of a surprise on this Tinglu, and that was actually, I think that ended up throwing off the game plan a whole lot.
Oh, absolutely, because it sort of lost him a lot of like momentum. Because losing, I think losing Smeargle when he lost it wasn't a huge deal, but I think the fact that the Hariyama was just pushed off, you know, out of, you know, its positioning was just so big.
Yeah, losing the momentum on the Hariyama to, you know, not KO this Tinglu was kind of a big deal here. And then yeah, the Lilligant just ended up having a really strong matchup into what was left of the team.
Oh, absolutely. I think by itself it picked up what, like 3-4 KOs?
I believe so. Let me
Because it
just check
killed, I think it's
the chart real quick.
through, because it killed, what,
Yeah, I count
Tentacruel,
3 here.
Hariyama, Iron Valiant,
Yes.
really, really nicely. And the only thing that hurt was the, that last, what, I think, triple axle. The triple axle not picking up the KO on the Landorus Therian. Oh, that hurt, but
Yeah, could have been a 4th KO there, but
it was so close. But the Intimidate mattered so much there. So really, that was actually like a pretty decent bring in there. But yeah, no, like this to me looked like Blue Black actually really, put on the big boy pants and put up or shut up, and he put up for sure.
yeah, I think
Lilligant was
losing
positioned so nicely.
You touched on losing the Smeargle, saying it probably didn't matter losing it there. I think it actually mattered a decent amount because I actually know what the Smeargle set was. I was talking through with Mox before the during the week while we were prepping.
Sure. All right, what did it do?
And there was a Burning Bulwark on this Smeargle.
Oh.
So yeah, it as both an answer to to get potential burns on Iron Hands and Lilligant, but also just to stall out Sun turns, right? Having a protect user.
Oh yeah, that's huge.
A little bit, to get extra turns off of the Sun counter is a pretty big deal, right? So yeah, it actually did. I think it actually did matter that Smeargle in particular was the one who came out there, because like if he hits, if the red card comes out and it's Landorus takes no damage from that Earthquake, obviously.
True.
And then,
that's a good point actually. Yeah, so then yeah, it was just pretty bad luck then that the Smeargle went down. Wow. I didn't expect it to have Burning Bulwark of all things.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's just a pretty safe, lead moveset here against a physical attack that you can just hit the Burning Bulwark. Try to see if bait them into getting a burn. And otherwise you have the hazards as usual, right?
Right. Oh yeah, that's actually a good point. I didn't think about that. Wow.
So yeah, losing the Smeargle there was actually kind of a big deal.
Yeah, because he loses a potential, either a switch-in option, because if Lilligant had gone for a Victory Dance, he could have switched in Smeargle on the turn, Burning Bulwark into anything to apply the burn, which would have taken away pretty much all of Lilligant's effectiveness. Wow, okay, I didn't think about that. That's quite big.
He had like a 50-50 to get a good hit there. Like if he goes, if the red card brings out Smeargle or Delphox into the Earthquake, obviously that's very good.
Yeah.
But if you go into the Landorus, it obviously does nothing. And then even the Iron Valiant coming out, it's not like a huge deal. Iron Valiant will take still a good amount of damage from the hazards and the EQ.
But it's
I
likely
believe
to
it still survives. And yeah, it's got that Scarf close combat to deal that last remaining, what was it like?
It was like 20. I think it took
like
another
30%
hit.
or something like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely did matter.
Wow.
Like
okay. Yeah.
what it hit, but yeah, hitting Smeargle
really
in particular, I think was actually kind of a big deal.
Yeah, that's definitely more important than I thought it would be. Dang. I just didn't know what this Smeargle had. Mox doesn't tell me anything, because I think he's telling you stuff, because I don't know why. It's almost like I play him. Don't you play him, actually?
Yeah, I play him at the end of the season.
Oh, then why the fuck is he telling you? I guess he's telling you stuff, so he can't tell me stuff. Because I play him sooner.
Yeah, I think so.
Or he's just a greasy loser who doesn't want great ideas like paraflinch anything.
I know he's got some interesting sets for this Smeargle lined up.
I'm sure.
I mean, obviously,
Smeargle, what do you gets everything.
Yeah, obviously, I don't know what he's planning to bring against either of us, but I know he's got some interesting things lined up. So definitely excited to see more of what he brings. Like,
for sure.
I think this game in particular was pretty rough, just because of the sequence of events, and I mean, good plays from Blue Lax's part, no doubt. But yeah, some
some
rough
odd,
sequencing.
some questionable turns. I think really put him into kind of an odd position, and then that Lilligant just kind of was allowed to go off. So really good positioning on the Lilligant, picking up 3 KOs on some pretty critical targets there for sure, like Hariyama going down, And killing the Iron Fowl was something I wasn't prepared for mentally. But I guess that's what you get when you have like a max attack, sun boosted chlorophyll, Lilligant that just gets to click buttons.
Yeah, definitely. Lilligant, Hisui and Lilligant, even without Terra, in the sun is still very threatening. Can't
Oh,
ever
absolutely.
underestimate it.
Moves at like the speed of sound. I mean, can get up to almost, what, 680, 670 speed? Like, that's so
Yeah,
fast.
678 at maximum, yeah.
Oh, man. Really good stuff.
Definitely, I mean, more than fast enough to outspeed any Scarfer in the game, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, anything with double speed can probably outspeed a Scarfer.
Yeah. So.
Unless it's Scarfed Regieleki. But also, no one does
Yeah,
that.
speed, but yeah,
Oh,
nobody does that
shit.
either. Yeah.
Really good game, though, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm hoping Blue Black is able to, repeat this performance into week 4. Week 4 as we round into the mid-season for his matchup against... Who is he playing? Fuck. Oh, against Siege. Oh, that's going to be an interesting game, definitely. Can't wait to see that whenever it gets played out. So we'll just have to... We'll give them time. We'll wait for it. That's definitely a game I also want to be there for. But let's keep the ball rolling. Oh, shit. We get to react to... Wow, that's crazy. This is a fun one. And you know what? We'll watch it from my perspective, because I'm the streamer.
Yeah. We had a really close game here.
I did not feel bad at all with how this game ended out.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like, I was actually pretty nervous going into this game. I mean, you have a lot of threats on your draft, between Chiyu and Enamorous and Ogerpon, which all of those which you brought, and even things like the Petron, and Gliscor were actually big problems that I was considering. But even like the two snakes here, right? Dunsparce and the Dunsparce.
Sorry, I just flipped the view and I just wanted to see what you saw, and it makes me smile seeing the same face.
Yeah, like I gotta put respect on these two snakes here, right? Like I mean, not really much to say about them other than they're super versatile and they've got a lot of shenanigans that they can get up to, and if you don't respect them, they definitely can do a lot of damage.
Oh, so, for sure. And I already know people. There are already people in the league who are like, I don't know what these do, and I smile.
So even the baby Dunsparce, like, I put a lot of consideration into thinking about what the set could possibly be. I didn't expect them to run, the same build, because that would be kind of silly. So I was assuming that you'd bring a different variant on each of them.
And wise of you to keep that in mind, because that's that's kind of my style at this point. Is if both of them appear, they won't do the same thing. There's no reason to. They should do different things for coverage options.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, this is a really close game.
Oh, definitely. I was super, like I said, I was not at all disappointed with the outcome. I definitely heard some murmurs when I got in the office the next day. They're like, "Oh, fucking, you lost?" I'm like, "Yeah, and like, I don't feel bad. That was a great game."
It was really close. Yeah. Well, yeah. Let's go ahead and watch it since we're
for sure.
hyping it up a bit.
We'll actually do. Let's look at the teams here. Actually, you brought Fez, Ursaluna, Necrozma, and sort of your usual suspects of Zamazenta, Samurott, and Driftblim. And really, it is this sort of like T-piece worth of mods here of Zama, Samurott, Driftblim, and Ursaluna that I think have shown up every week. And frankly, we haven't seen most of them really perform because your games have been very oddly one-sided.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to use Ursaluna or Driftblim really yet, which I'm a little bit sad about, but yeah, I've got some different sets lined up for them for this week and also going forward. So
that'll be great to see. Can't wait. But honestly, I was expecting those 4 like in my prepping, and I was like in my head, I'm like, Chiyu just kills everything. And Ogerpon Water would hit Ursaluna and Samurott. The Driftblim, I was like, I don't fucking know how to kill this thing. Dark
Chiyu, Dark Pulse.
I guess.
Yeah. I think the only real issue arises for you if I decide to Terra Fairy.
Yeah, that would have been like maybe the only bad thing, but also then you're
But
susceptible to other stuff.
yeah, even then, I don't soak more than like 2 or 3 hits from Specs Chiyu, I think.
Right, and you can't exactly hurt it back either. Not
Yeah,
very
there's not a whole
efficiently.
lot of options.
But as for, the things on this roster that I was pretty nervous about, Necrozma scares the shit out of me. I know what this can do. Fuck you. Fuck this thing. Prism Armor, stupid ability. Fuck this thing.
Really good ability, yeah. This is a mon that ever since it came, back in the DLC for Scarlet Violet, I was like, I want to use either this or Iron Crown. And Iron Crown got drafted away from me, so
Unfortunately.
actually,
It's back in the pool
well,
if you want to trade for it.
it did, but I was like, I'll take Necrozma. I think Necrozma is a bit more flexible, and I like that it can run both physical and special sets.
For sure.
So I'm hoping I can play both of those at least once this season. It's also got good, defensive utility. It's got stealth rocks. It's got recovery with Moonlight and Morning Sun, for that matter.
Yeah, it's got the stats to show for it too. Like, it is no slouch. It's actually decently bulky. With
We did lose a Totemize in this gen, which is a bit sad. But
yeah, I mean,
hey,
can't have them all.
Everything. Yeah.
But yeah, I was very
cool
nervous about this. This is very good for sure. And as for my team, I brought 3 of my best things and 3 normal types.
Which was honestly not what I was expecting, but I gotta respect it, right? Like I said, I put respect on these 2 snakes. I have no idea what they could be, right? I know Mousehold kind of does one thing, but it does that thing really well. So I'm not like, I'm still scared of it because it's still Mousehold and it will still kill things if I let it. But
for sure.
Hey, I mean, 3 normal types, maybe a little questionable in terms of defensive coverage, but also not the worst thing you could do.
In fairness, I did warn you I was taking a number of normal types.
You did.
I told you roll a d4 and you said 4 and I said no.
Yeah, so it's yeah, it was
This was a team.
It was a team. It's a scarier team than I think it deserves to be for having 3 normal types.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, my like half this team is like the 3 most expensive pointed things I've drafted, and the last 3 I think a total to 20 points.
Yeah, I think it's 21 points total for these 3. Yeah,
which is like almost just Chiyu.
Yeah. So, but yeah, like still a very scary team, despite the defensive coverage being a little bit silly. But if you can navigate around with this team, like it's still a hard team to navigate because of the potential that comes with, the 3 normal types being very flexible in what they can do.
For sure.
Because even Mousehold, like I said, Mousehold only does one thing, but even Mousehold has potential for
like it has a couple options.
Yeah, it still learns a lot of good disruption moves. Taunt, Thunderwave, Encore, right?
Oh yeah, it absolutely can be played like a super good support mon. Besides, it's just going Technician, Pop Bomb, and laughing at people.
Yeah, obviously, Pop Bomb, what it's most known for, and a button that frankly deletes more things than it has the right to for being just a couple little mice.
True,
but
I'm also purposely using the family of 3. Because I mean, you're not allowed to have more family members than segments on a Dunsparce.
True.
So let's just get into it here.
Yeah, let's go for it.
So we got the leads. Pheasantipity staring out a hey mouse. And
yeah.
Oh, would you look at that? It's gonna do its one thing.
So I love the Pheasantipity here. Not really sure if I should lead the Samurott. I wasn't sure if the Samurott, or I didn't want to just die to a population bomb because I know Samurot's an OKU. So I decided to sack the Fez here.
That's
I
fair.
didn't really need it in this matchup. Like it's okay. I've got good moves on it for this matchup, but yeah.
I will let you know, the Dunsparce was special defense invested.
Yeah.
That's why it died.
That makes... I miss Stone Edge a lot in this game.
It's fine. You haven't clicked it yet.
Yeah.
Bang. All right.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Oh, look at that shit right there.
Yeah.
Bang. Fuck. This hurt my feelings.
Yeah. The Moonblast was a roll to kill. It was like it's like a 30% chance to kill, I think, in that situation at that HP.
Mhm.
But yeah, still, a roll.
Yeah, the switch there was good for you. I took Protect on this thing because I was like, I don't know what else to fucking put. We'll just put this thing. Sure.
Yeah. Protect is fine, right? A good way to scout out for status moves and stuff like that.
For sure.
Which I like. Yeah, Dark Pulse, like we said.
This was an honest miss. I just straight up forgot I Terra Ghosted.
Oh.
I was like, oops.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have a reason to click a water move when you have Ogre Pawn, so
Yeah.
I just went for Ceaseless.
Go bestie. The Trick Room really actually threw me for a loop, and I was like, wait a fucking second, hold up.
Yeah, this Trick Room Meteor Beam set is something that...
Behold, I'm slower than you, though.
Yeah, this is a fun set. I really like this Meteor Beam set.
It's actually really cool.
And then this kind of ended up working out for me. Well, it's a very strange situation to be in when your opponent switches in a mon that's slower than you.
Yeah.
Towards the end of the Trick Room turns, because then you end up switching back to being faster than them.
Yeah, it's very it's kind of, it throws you off a little bit on the mind game.
Yeah, which is what happened here. So
Was Photon Geyser a psychic move?
yes, it is a psychic move.
Wow, okay. That is a misplay on my part then. I could have absolutely switched in sooner.
Ow. Dark Pulse crit did not matter at all.
It actually would have if I was Scarfed.
Yeah, if you were Scarfed, it would have mattered, but you were Specs here.
Yeah.
And yeah, I finish off with the Scarfed Ursula Blood Moon.
It's like near max speed too, which is
It's
fucking insane.
240 speed. I mean, obviously, I have to be fast enough to be faster than max speed.
Non-Scarf Chiyu.
Yeah. Non-Scarf Chiyu. So, I had to chance it here because if you're a Scarf, it's a roll to kill me, and if it's Specs, I die anyway. So
Yeah.
yeah, I had to gamble there, and it ended up working out. But yeah, very close game, right?
Oh, for sure. I mean, the Zama was on no HP, and the Ursulina was just built specifically to outspeed this. So,
Yeah.
not a lot I could have done there, really. If anything, I could have switched in predicting the Photon Geyser into the Dudsparce, soaked it, and I think the Dark Pulse kills Necro. It killed it anyway, so...
Yeah, it should have. I think with Specs, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. So I think if I was Scarfed, it may have been different, but, like, that's like, oh, you have to predict it in team building. Well, you can't do that.
Yeah.
So I do not feel, this was a very close game, and something that I heard from some of the other players in the league was this was a great game as far as getting information.
Oh yeah, 'cause
most of your other games have ended with like basically only like 2 to 4 things ever showing up.
Yeah, I think we did see every Pokemon come out. We didn't see the Pheasantipity set in this game.
Yeah,
but,
it's fine.
Yeah,
it showed up.
Seeing the Necrozma set and the Zamazenta set was kind of a big deal here, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, actually, I had a similar set to this for Zamazenta in week 1. I just swapped Protect for Stone Edge so I can beat the Enamorous.
Right. But I think it's just, the majority of the games so far have been such that not a lot of things are revealed, especially the Ursulina. Like, no one knew what your Ursulina did.
Yeah, this is the first week that Ursulina has gotten even a single KO. I think this is the first week it's even been sent out.
Yeah, because your game 1 and 2 just never switched in. Like, you played those games with like 3 things. So,
yeah.
This was I felt very good about this game. Can't, like, there's obviously, better plays that could have been made, like switching in the Dunsparce out, like switching out the Dunsparce for Chiyu to soak a Photon and then get the kill sooner. And then try to, like, reposition something, but I mean, that's like that would have made barely difference, I feel like. I think the endgame
Yeah.
position would have most likely been about the same, unless this was the Paraflinch to Dunsparce, but it's not, it's Calm Mind.
Yeah, I was definitely afraid of Paraflinch coming out. Like that was something in testing that brought it down to like really down to the wire,
Mhm.
honestly.
The tech I was hoping to pull off, which didn't work, was the single piece Dunsparce actually is Paraflinch, but it's also Paraflinch in such a way that it also runs Baton Pass. So the logic is I get a para, you skip the turn, and I get the slow pass into either Chi-Yu or Ogerpon Water when I need to. And the main sweeper up front, staring at the Dunsparce, would have been crippled already by a para.
Right, so you have the chance to set
Exactly,
up or
so-
just get revenge kill.
Right, so I could have just passed into a sweeper, picked up the
Ah,
KO, and then just switched back to Dunsparce.
yeah,
Like if I go
definitely-
Chi-Yu, right, it could have been overheat into anything, gets a KO, switch back
Yeah.
into Dunsparce, paralyze the next thing I stare at, and then go for another slow pass. Because I did the math, it's slower than everything, even if the thing is paralyzed, which is so lame, but it's really funny.
Right.
But it's
Yeah.
actually in this case, it's actually really good because I can get cleaner switch-ins when I need to.
Right.
It's either I get the slow pass or I die, and I switch in against a paralyzed target. You don't ever outspeed me, and then I get a KO.
Right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, that's definitely. I mean, that's just good strategy, right?
Yeah. So this thing was
Yeah.
built to kill itself, more or less. And I will mention, I forget which one of them was. One of them is rattled, specifically if it if it looks at your Samurott. Because if you click Ceaseless, I get a speed boost.
Right. Right.
I think it was the Dunsparce, because it's the Calm Mind variant, so it's max HP max to Fizz defense, expecting to hopefully stare down Samu. You click Ceaseless, do nothing. I Calm Mind in front of you, and then I Thunderbolt you, and I'm
Yeah.
+1 speed.
Ooh, T-Bolt. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the set I ran was T-Bolt and Hyper or Boom Burst with Roost Calm Mind.
Yeah, I like that.
Because I was like, well, I don't really need like Earth Power because I could just do Boom Burst instead.
Yeah.
The stab plus a 140 base move is just better in like 90% of the cases I could have clicked it into against most of your draft actually.
Yeah, I think the only normal resistance I really have is Metagross, right? I guess I have Drifblim for the immunity, but that
Right.
dies to Thunderbolt.
Exactly.
So,
So I took Thunderbolt explicitly thinking, okay, I need to hit the Drifblim because if I can't kill the Drifblim, this thing does nothing. So we took Thunderbolt just for Drifblim and then Boom Burst for ideally everything else, but
Right.
it's okay. Nothing. If nothing else, it was a really funny stall option, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, Roost with CM just makes it. I mean, CM or Coil, right? Just makes
Yeah.
the Dunsparce so obnoxious.
Oh yeah, it gets like weirdly bulky, and people are like, "Why is it fucking? Why is this thing
would
not
you
dying?
die?
Why do you take no damage?" And then you like see me jump up 56 HP off of Roost leftovers turn. You're like, "What the hell? How do I
Yeah.
beat this?"
Please, just go already.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
I love my snakes. They're probably going to be they're going to continue to be mainstays, I think, for the rest of the season. I can't
yeah.
I can't see myself going out into a game without bringing potentially at least one of them. There's just so much utility and so much versatility in both of them. I think actually the single segment Dunsparce might show up a lot more. Because with the Violite, I don't need to worry I don't have to fuss too much with boosting options. I can kind of just go like Paraflinch phasing, with Recover. Lots of options with just that kind of an approach, so
Yeah,
super
it is
excited.
bulkier than the Dunsparce with the Violet, right? Obviously,
Mhm.
worse attacking stats, but when you're bulkier, you have the time to set up. So
Exactly. And it doesn't even need to set up. Like, it can just sort of sit there. Just Paraflinch.
Yeah,
know-
true. Yeah, you can kind of just spam Glare and Roost, right?
Exactly. Because if you
Yeah,
want to
like-
switch out, well, I'll just glare at you. Or hit a body slam. Roll the 70,
Yep.
like the 70% paralyze.
Yep.
So, either way, it put its whole existence is to be an inconvenience, and I love it so much for that.
Yeah, it's a good one.
sneak peek. It might even show up to my game against Big Honey, against Jeff. So we'll see what happens. That's gonna be a fun one for sure, I think.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that game for sure.
I just gotta build my team. Motherfucker wants to play, right in the morning, so I should be awake for it. I can't imagine myself not being good for that game, but we shall see. Let's get into our next replay here, which I believe is Nook versus Kick. This is a game I was really rooting for, and I wasn't sure who to root for, because both of them have awesome drafts. Kick is, a returning vet from last season, and he's drafted himself such a cool team, and he's got like a crazy good core. He's got things like Baxcalibur. Low Kicks is actually a fire fucking pick, and he somehow snagged Grimsnarl at like 9th, 10th pick, which is insane. Like, how did
you
it
got Grimstar like way towards the end, right?
Yeah, it was like, I think one of his last 3 pickups, which is crazy.
Yeah, I believe it was his second to last.
Yeah, that sounds about right. And of course, he's got, his trademark Magneton Sandy Shock, Magnemite variant. And Sandy Shock goes crazy. I think he was talking to me about it. Looking at Nook's team, Sandy Shock kind of just hits anything it wants against Nook, which is insane to me. Because half of it's like fire types, and like others it's a whole bunch of ground and electric non-resists.
Yeah, I mean, it's a sun draft, right? So it's gonna be weak to ground type.
Exactly.
Just out of principle, right?
Exactly. And I think because of that, that's why this is here this week. And looking at Nook's team, this looks to me very standard. Based on what he drafted, like I would feel very comfortable sitting behind this team and driving it around. Ninetales for the Sun, which I hope it's bringing Sun. Good lord. Gouging Fire. Oh, I love this thing, man. Like, this is such a cool mon. Especially given it's an actual fire type with photosynthesis, so it really double dips like stupid hard in the sun.
Yeah, definitely.
Also rolling around with the Venusaur, which is near and dear to my Gen 1 heart. Chlorophyll Venusaur from like Gen 4, 5. I think Gen 5 was so fun in the sun. Like, it just kind of went crazy. It is cool actually to see him bringing out the Florges this week. And I suspect it's meant to deal with the backs. Because I don't know what else Florges does.
Yeah, I think I mean, just being a bulky fairy is always pretty good, right? It's like having a bulky water type on your team, but just
right, for sure.
Fairy, having that option, that kind of defensive rock that you can lean on.
Yeah, I think and speaking of defensive, bulky waters, he's got Swampert this week. Swampert is actually, respectably bulky and actually hits decently hard. Tragically, no longer megas, so he can't Swift Swim Sweep, but with, Torrent, backing up its water moves toward the late game, when it's pretty low health, it pairs off decently well with this team. And I think with, like, Gouging Fire, Swampert, and Florges, he might not have the stereotypical Firewater Grass core, but he's got, like, a pretty solid foundation here. And last but not least, with that Rhyperior, with that solid rock ability, frankly, Rhyperior is pretty bad outside of Terra, but with solid rock, at the very least, it's going to, mitigate some of that damage. And I think into Sandy Shock's Rhyperior looks pretty good. With investment, solid rock actually will cut down the effectiveness of an earth power, so I don't know the math, but I suspect it could live a hit or two, which could be really interesting.
Yeah, I think, especially if it's like an Assault Vest variant, it will live a couple of earth powers with the solid rock boost. And yeah, I mean, going back a little bit on the other mons, Swampert, like, also a very flexible Pokemon, has a pretty deep move pool for what it is. Obviously, yeah, it can't Mega like it could in past generations. It is slightly worse because of that, but still a good Pokemon. Again, has good variety of moves. Can be a strong attacker with, like, Choice Band. It can also be just a good defensive Pokemon with its, like, either like Assault Vest or like a Resist Berry.
Yeah, it's got a healthy
Grass.
options definitely, and I often gotta
Yeah.
remind myself this thing gets like Ice Punch, Stone Edge, obviously
Yeah.
Earthquake, based on typing. Like, sometimes it even feels like it doesn't even need its Water Stab. Like, it just has
Even
coverage
playing
for
like
days.
just playing a coverage set, even like a mixed coverage set sometimes could be pretty good, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I've seen people run like mixed Swampert with like liquidation ice beam kind of thing, like earthquake. You know,
Oh yeah, that's not even that bad. Like Ice Beam just hits so hard.
yeah, especially in the
Um,
matchups where it is relevant.
For
Against
sure.
things like Landorus or like Gliscor.
Yeah, you don't necessarily want to be clicking your physical water moves, especially into like Landorus with the Therian version having Intimidate, where it just a quad super effective Ice Beam will just pick up that KO for free anyway.
Yeah.
So super cool to see, and we'll see what happens here. Let's give
Yeah, I
it a
don't
go.
remember what happened in this game.
I don't
So-
either, but Galv is staring down a Ninetales. The flamethrower comes out from Galvantula. It is sashed. I suspect Sticky Webs comes out here. Webs has come out as the burn actually lands and kills Galvantula, letting Sandy Shocks come in really cleanly here.
Yeah, getting the burn in, kind of unfortunate, but also kind of good for Kick in this situation. Somehow.
I think it was actually one of the rare cases where it is ideal. That Earth Power does not kill the Venusaur as a Giga Drain does finish it off. Why did it take Chip? Oh, it's a Life Orb. Okay. I was
Yeah,
like,
Life
why did-
Orb, yeah.
Gouging Fire comes out, starts out the Grimmsnarl. The screens do come out here as an Iron Head does not kill after the Reflect goes up. And even the second Iron Head only does 48% as a Spirit Break just chunks in, gets a minus special attack. As Kick actually lets that thing go down as Baxcalibur comes out, standing behind two screens as Florges comes in. And the Glaive Rush is blocked by the Fairy typing. A Dragon Dance does come out here, which is excellent, as a sub is clicked actually for Florges. But here comes the Icicle Spear. 2, 3, 4, 5 hits, gets that KO.
Yeah, the 5 hits coming through is really huge. Not
That
taking
actually
any sort
mattered.
of chip whatsoever. Like even through the screen, I think a Moonblast does like a respectable 30-ish%.
And we just
But
saw
yeah,
that
with-
Bax click Glaive and just pick up the free kill there on the Swampert. This is now a +2 Baxcalibur. With that loaded die Icicle Spear, it kind of just packs the game away by itself here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not really
Venusaur
much-
does not want that.
Yeah, not really much to say here other than letting the Baxcalibur. I mean, Icicle Spear into
Ooh.
Substitute is just such a great,
Yeah,
such a great counter.
it's so smart.
Obviously,
That's
getting
really
the 5th
good.
hit is a little bit lucky, but man,
Oh yeah,
even
that
so,
that was actually really crazy. Because I think if the Florges had a chance to click a Moonblast, it would have dealt quite a bit there. Because the Bax does actually get hit by the Brick Break. And I think with Brick Break and the Moonblast, I think it actually could have gone down.
yeah, I'm not sure how like a
Does it-
defensive Florges looks into Baxcalibur.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the math is off the top, but I mean, I still suspect with just stab and no resist, like it's still gotta
Okay.
take a decent amount.
Yeah, doing the calc, even a fully defensive Florges through the light screen would deal on average about 35-36%.
Oh wow, okay.
So yeah, it's
Never
possible
mind
that.
then.
I mean, it wouldn't have KO'd here, but yeah, having that Icicle Spear to chunk through the Substitute was pretty big.
Oh, for sure. Oh man, wow, that is really close. I think if anything, I would have, if I'm Nook, I could have considered, going Gouging Fire, and I don't know what moves he has on this, but I feel like you always take Burning Bulwark, and in this case, I would have clicked it just to send a message.
True. I
Like-
think I would have as well.
Because obviously, you can predict, oh, he's going to go for the Glaive Rush. I will Burning Bulwark, afflict the burn, and force you to work for it. Because actually, it'll be down a turn, because he can't Glaive back to back. So his only option really would have been to Icicle Spear there. And if he goes for Iso Spear, it's not going to do a whole lot into Gouging Fire with the physical defense, like its normal phys defense investments. And with the burn on Bax, it's like it's cutting the damage down by a lot. So there is a chance the G-Fire could have actually even gotten off. Maybe not its own Dragon Dance because it's kind of too little too late at this point. But going for something like a Breaking Swipe or Dragon Claw or something would have done a lot.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, actually, you're right. Yeah, the Glaive Rush. If it gets burned using Glaive Rush on the Burning Bulwark, Icicle Spear, even at +2, only does 56% maximum.
Yeah, and that Gouging Fire was at 74, so averages what, like 50% dealt?
Yeah, so about 50%.
G-Fire would have lived, and then potentially with like a Dragon Claw, maybe not have killed from 65, but it would have done a lot of work.
No, Dragon Claw will KO at this
point.
Oh,
okay.
Assuming it's full attack.
I would assume so because the the photosynthesis proc attack, so I'm inclined to assume it's max attack.
Yeah, assuming it's max attack, yeah, Dragon Claw definitely gets a KO from 65 for sure, and especially with the Glaive Rush passive, right? Like, there's no way it's gonna survive.
For sure, yeah. This was, oh man, Kick really played real tight here. To me, it felt like everything kind of had a purpose, like Galvantula was here to set webs. Sandy Shocks is meant to pick up an early KO to make the game a little bit easier, as Grimsnarl does come out and sets up those screens, those really critical screens, because I think without those, this Bax would have been in way worse a condition.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Would have been a lot more, on the wire. So I gotta give him props. Kick really played really well this game, and Bax picked up what, like 5 kills, like 5-6 kills.
Yeah, I believe so.
I think it was 5, right? Because the only kill, Sandy Shocks picked up 1.
Yeah, Sandy Shocks picked up 1, and Bax picked up 5 here. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, this thing catapulted itself into like top 5 most KOs in a single game, which is insane. But credit to Nook still too. I think he's really feeling his way through his team. I think he's got a good core in mind. This Fire, Water, Grass core centered around Gouging Fire, Venusaur, Swampert feels really good. That's what I would do if I had his draft. Like, that just feels great. And then pairing it off with things like Gouging Fire, obviously, as it's probably his, I don't want to call it his best. I think one of his strong options as a Sunsweeper, feels really good as well. And then matching it, going with like Rhyperior or Florges, feels really good as well. Florges, I think, is a little specific to the matchup, so I think like in this case, it was actually a pretty good option. Rhyperior, as much as I love it, I think it may just be a little too clunky to find like really good purchase in. Unless you play something very specific or very deranged, in my opinion.
I think it's a bit of a difficult mon to leverage, especially in like a Sun team where it doesn't have like a super solid place. But it is the one mon that he actually requested to draft around. And it's kind of also his mascot, right?
That's true. He is running. Well, he's running Rhyhorn, so I mean, he could just run Rhydon with a Violet. That might be better, actually.
True. I mean, hey, maybe. Rhydon is Rhydon? You can Terra Rhydon in this league, right?
So Terra Rhydon with a Violet actually sounds really, really good to me. Like, that's gonna be chunky.
Decent. Yeah.
Like, it's gonna pack the bulk to live a ton of hits, but neither here nor there. So I think Nook needs just a little bit more sharpening of that knife here. Needs to maybe work on the position. The switches actually to me felt pretty good, but I think it was just the fact of that Baxcalibur had the opportunity to set up. And Baxcalibur is an Ubers for a reason, guys. Like, this thing's a fucking monster.
I think letting Ninetales go early was also maybe a bit of a mistake. Having the second set of Sun turns probably would have been a big help here.
Yeah, I think...
Because you get to outspeed that Baxcalibur even after the boosts, right?
Hear me out. I think actually, on those early turns, if I'm Nook, after I set the Sun, like, clicking Flamethrower here is fine, personally. But I think going into Rhyperior sooner would have been really good. like going Rhyperior on the Switch into Galv, I think would have felt insane, because you can now threaten out Galvantula, and it actually forces Kick to really consider his options, because he doesn't want to just bring in any of his three three other rock weak things with low kicks in the back, Vikavolt, and Baxcalibur all in the back. A Stone Edge off of a max attack, max HP Rhyperior will just shred them in a second.
Oh
So
yeah, for sure.
it's actually, I think that switch would have changed the tempo of the game quite a bit there.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
And even just hovering Earthquake, it would have still broken Galvantula down to Sash, had Kick gone into Sandy Shock still on turn 2 like he did. And Earthquake absolutely threatens it out. Like, Sandy is not bulky, like, pretty much at all. And
Yeah, the switch becomes a lot harder for Kick at that point, right? Because, I mean, if you look at Galvantula being out, obviously threatening Earthquake with this Rhyperior, but you don't really want to switch in Vikavolt in case it's the Stone Edge, right?
Exactly. So you're really forcing the mind game out of Kick. In a way, you really strong arm him into either taking a sack or going Grimmsnarl. And Grimmsnarl, even though it's bulky, doesn't enjoy getting hit with a Stone Edge in the face, you know?
Yeah, I mean, taking a Stone Edge on the switch in before screens go up, not a really appealing prospect.
Exactly. So, if anything, I think that, not misplay in that it was a mistake, but just missed play rather, having that opportunity and not taking it, I think may have been the only major thing I would have done differently here. Because otherwise, if he had gone for it, he would find himself in a really good position in that he has to force the ball quarter of into Kick's court, and make him really think, and really put him under the knife, or I guess under the drills.
Yeah. That being said, as someone who's like brand new to competitive in this draft league, Nook has been, it's been catching on pretty quickly, and I think, hopefully we'll get to see some good games from him throughout the rest of the season.
For sure. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing his progression. I'm rooting for him. Like, on God, I am in the back here. I'm a Nook supporter all the way. I want him to find his foothold with this team, and really take it all the way. We're only in week 3, so there's plenty of time in the season to still navigate around and really find your what works for you, what feels good to play.
Yeah, 100%.
So we got only 2 more replays left, and thank God, because we're getting to the 2-hour mark. I just realized. So
yeah,
chat, I hope you guys are having a good time. We're almost there. I'm gonna hydrate actually. I understand, the whole caster thing. It's like, oh, you've been talking so long, and that's why we keep water bottles all the time. I'm like, you know what? Fair, I get it now.
I'm gonna actually refill my water as well real quick.
Chat, the real fun part is seeing if any of my videos, because I've been uploading my streams to my YouTube, youtube.com /@gloriouscorn42. I've been uploading all these to YouTube and seeing which ones get copyright struck because of music I've been using. And fascinatingly, I've been using a lot of Pokemon music. At least in the last one, I used Pokemon music and got no copyright strike, which is super funny. But the review of some of the week 2 games, I used some City Pop, which I thought was not copyright, but I was wrong. So I have that entire, the majority of that video actually has been hit with a variety of copyright strikes, or rather content claims. And since I'm not monetized, I don't give a shit. Fucking, you can have my 9 views. Enjoy.
There are 9 views.
Hell yeah. All 9 of those views on one of the replay uploads to YouTube. is riddled with copyright content claims, which is incredibly funny to me. Because I used I just used a City Pop playlist, and I I uploaded to YouTube, and I look back and I'm like, why is it restricted? I go to edit some of the audio, and it's like, oh, there's like 15 to 20 claims on it. I'm like, what the hell? So whatever.
Sometimes it happens, I guess.
You know what? You can have it. Just because I played songs like Magic Way by one of my favorite, City Pop artists, Tatsuro Yamashita, and even like Stay With Me by Miki Matsubara, all of those got claimed. Very funny shit, but you know what? It's fine. You can have them. Anyway, back to the replays. We have... This one was really funny. And one I was also very excited to see. This is Jash Crashed versus Big Honey. This is Big Honey. Because I hate his username in Showdown. So this is, in a way, also kind of a big deal game to me because, Big Honey, I think, has had a little bit of a hard time, finding his pacing with his team. His draft was put together off the gimmick of hitting disable and only disable. But I think, he's been working on it. He's been hitting the books, hitting the numbers. And he made a few trades and picked up a couple things. Like in this game, he's bringing out his Sceptile, which I thought was a really cool pickup for the this week of play. So I think he's really just trying to figure it out. He's brought his Darkrai and Ninetales Dusclops back. Another new pickup here, that Donphan is really looking good here. Especially into Jash's Team 1, because he's got a couple of really big weaknesses to Ground and Rock. But he's also one to set up, a mid to late game Stealth Rock if he doesn't get it off early. So Donphan looks incredible as the lead option, assuming, a certain different things go Stealth Rocks in the lead slot. And obviously the Sceptile, I think it's an Unburdened set, I believe. Pretty standard, I think, for most competitive options for Sceptile. So that's looking really good here. It gives him a few options into... 3 of the rock / ground types, and also Overcool, hello, Quillfish. So looking great there, and this Kingdra is, I know what the build is. It's my favorite build for Kingdra, and I think the last time Big Honey tried to use it, it just did not work out, very unfortunately. But I'm hoping this is the one where it does. I did see this game, I'm not going to spoil it, but it was really funny. I do remember this.
This was a fun game.
And looking at Jash's team, he's brought Glastrier, Iron Boulder, which I love this thing. He's so cool. And he's got Urshifu at home energy because his signature move cuts through Protect, which is funny. He's got his Paladon for his Sand, and speaking of Sand, he's got his Excadrill to capitalize, I think, with that Sand Rush ability. And he's also packed in the Thunderous Therian and the Jotonian Quillfish. I'm not too sold on the Quillfish into this matchup. I don't know, it just doesn't sit right with me.
The Quillfish, I believe, was a choice here based on the draft. Big Honey's draft does have a few poison types that can set toxic spikes.
Oh, and if this is set to absorb them, sure, I can see that.
Yeah, so I think this is just a kind of like a safe, maybe not the best 6-pick, but like a safe 6-pick, as it's still a hazard setter, it's still a decent defensive pivot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I suppose if he's expecting T-spikes, right? Yeah,
toxic spike absorber, so...
Okay. Yeah, I can see that for sure. I think the Landorus Therian pick is really interesting here. In a weird way, it doesn't feel good into this matchup, but I think that's very dependent, I guess, on what Big Honey would have brought, because into that Ninetales it looks really bad, but otherwise it looks pretty decent into the majority of the other options here. Like, it's got like Focus Blast to hit Darkrai, and it's got Grass Knot to trip up the Dusclops, and I think obviously it gets some kind of like Ice or Flying option into Sceptile. And at worst, it's got, a pivot option in either U-turn or Volt Switch. to get out of dodge and reposition. And of course you can do different things like Calm Mind variant looks, or not Calm Mind, Nasty Plot variant looks really good. Choice items look really good, so a pretty flexible one, I would say, for sure.
Yeah, the answer to the Sceptile, I believe, is Sludge Bomb here.
Oh, I forgot it gets Sludge Bomb? What the hell?
Yeah, it's yeah, it actually doesn't get any ice or flying type moves, which is why you often see Terra Flying.
That makes sense.
On, or at least it doesn't get a flying type special attack, is what I should say.
Sure, yeah, so you go Terra Flying to capitalize on Terra Blast.
Which is why, yeah, on ladder you'll often see Terra Flying to get Terra Blast flying, but obviously in this league, can't Terra this.
True, it's
and
way
there's
out of
no,
points.
well, I mean, the only, its signature move is not the Bleak Wind Storm, it's the Wild Bolt Storm. So, not a flying type move.
True.
But, yeah, it's still got good coverage. It's still a very strong attacker, and can also be built very defensively because of its ridiculously high special attack stat.
Yeah, it does not take a lot of investment. It doesn't even really take any for it to actually output a decent amount of damage.
Yeah, you can definitely pick up a lot of 2-hit KOs with minimal special attack investment.
For sure. So let's get into this one.
Yeah.
Leads are Thunderous Therian staring down a shiny Donphan. U-turn is clicked here, which is really smart, as the Coolfish comes out, gets the Intimidate off, as a Head Smash is clicked, actually. Really interesting tech choice into the Thunderous option, because I think that may have KO'd at full. Spikes comes out as the Earthquake is clicked, and actually Coolfish lives it because of that -2 physical attack from Intimidate. Spin comes out, clears the spikes, as the switch is called as an Earthquake does chip into Glastrier. But it goes Terra Fairy as the Head Smash comes in, deals only about 21%, and it goes Curse.
Yeah, I do remember this game. This is a Curse Glastrier set.
Yep.
I mean, Glastrier, one of those mons where it's basically limited by its low speed and its ice typing, but when you can capitalize off of both of those,
yeah, you don't have to worry too much
by
about
terraing, it's it turns out to be an extreme threat, as we will see in this game.
For sure. It picked up the KO pretty cleanly on that Darkrai, which was unfortunate.
Yeah. Also, a Rest Talk set with Avalanche is kind of crazy.
Yeah, that's sort of mental. The Sceptile's, really trying to do his darndest here to get damage through, but it's just not working out very well.
Yeah.
The substitute is called again, and I know what he's trying to do. I think the sub gets called one more time. He goes to no HP as the Liechi Berry is called with the Unburden off. He goes Terra Flying Acrobatics here, but through the defense investment, it lives. Last year is just so tanky. Chilling Nay actually looks terrifying here, as it is, what, +5 now?
5 attack, yeah.
Disable here actually knocking out the Avalanche, which is really funny, as the burn does come out. It is cleansed by the sleep, though, by the rest. And I think Big Honey just forgot that you can't burn a sleeping thing, because it's already under a status. The Sleep Talk is called. It does pick up the KO actually very cleanly on the Donphan, which is unfortunate. As Dusclops does come back out, and with the pressure actually, he's whittling away at that PP. I remember this. Yeah, he reveals that he's actually a rest set on his Dusclops, and unfortunately that does lead it to go down here. The Night Dust comes out, goes with the Aurora Veil in the snow. It actually takes that Avalanche super well. It resists, and it's in the snow. And the freeze!
Yeah, this freeze was crazy.
Oh my god.
10% freeze on this almost fully set up Glastrier.
Yep.
Opening up the opportunity for this Kingdra to come in and start threatening to get, if not a reverse sweep, at least a few KOs here.
And he
starts his differential.
And he starts it out with that KO there on the Glastrier. Picks up the Hippowdon in a single surf. Takes that chip from Sam, but who cares? He eats that Earthquake decently well from Excadrill as the Surf gets another KO. I remember watching this and I was losing my mind. I'm like, there's no fucking way.
Yeah.
The
Picking up
Draco
3
comes
KOs
out.
here. The
Yeah.
Draco doesn't matter that you have the special attack drop.
Minus
because
special
you're
attack, who cares?
critting
You
every
crit.
time. Yep.
This switch,
Check
I
out
think,
the
was
thunders
safe.
here.
Resets the weather, goes into the snow. As Aurora Veil is pulled up again, as a discharge does come out, does only a little bit of damage here. Freeze Dry actually chunks decently okay for 30%. As the U-turn is called, goes for the switch. Iron Boulder does come out here. And this thing is a monster. Still, it is plus speed. As the Sword Sense unfortunately gets disabled. As a Poison Jab gets this KO. The crit did not matter, who cares. But
Yeah,
Kingdra does
definitely.
come back out to see the end. It lives that Earthquake, and it doesn't kill with the... There's no crit. Ah.
Yeah, not getting the crit on that surf. I mean, given it was only a +1 crit rate from the sniper, so you're looking at that 12.5% chance. But man,
I think
ended up being a very close game considering
yeah.
how it started.
it was down to the wire. I don't... Okay, I don't know if you know this. Enlighten me for a second. Do you know how fast that Thunderous was?
I believe this Thunderous was spec to be faster than. Hold on, what was it? There was. Let me look at the draft again. There was something specific in Mr. Big Honey's draft that Josh hecked against. I believe it's supposed to be just faster than the Bruxish, I believe.
So, do you remember what the number, like its speed number came out to be?
Oh, what the number ended up being?
Yeah.
Let me take a look at the speed tiers again. Hold on. I believe it's this one. So it should be 312.
Oh, dang, okay. So it would have still outsped the Kingdra at the
Yeah,
very
Kingdra
end.
by a bit.
Dang, and I think the discharge at that low percentage, I think, would have just killed anyway.
Yeah, still would get the KO there, I think.
Because it was down to 7. Yeah, that should
Yeah.
kill.
Yeah.
Dang, yeah, no, this game was super hype because Big Honey actually brought it back, I think, from the depths of despair. Had he just weaved in one agility, because I know this Kingdra had agility, that would have been done and dusted. The game would have been over.
I know we talked about it after the game, and yeah, I think going for 1 agility against the Frozen Glastrier probably would have just won him the game right there.
Oh, 100%. Because nothing is faster than a +2 max speed Kingdra.
Kingdra, yeah.
Maybe a max speed Excadrill in sand? But, he would have taken a little bit of chip and then it would have died anyway. As he can actually not even go, he wouldn't even have to go for the swap out into Ninetales. He just clicks Surf or Draco Meteor all the live long day. Everything will die to that.
Right, yeah, you could have just kept clicking the button.
Because Surf would have kills Hippowdon, it killed Excadrill, Draco Meteor kills Quillfish. If Jash goes Thunderous, Draco Meteor kills anyway because it crits and does 1 million damage. And then the Surf would have just picked up Iron Boulder at the very end. It wouldn't. There's no way this would have lived. I mean, shoot.
Yeah.
It took 72%, 82% off of it non-critting Surf. Like, this thing was about to die.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
yeah, very close game. Just a small error that is very understandable in the heat of the moment.
yeah. He actually told us in a conversation after his match, like, he was like, I think some of his nerves got to him. He sort of mentally, like, threw in the towel after he lost, like, half of his team to Glastrier.
Yeah.
He was like, there's, like, whatever. But then the freeze happened, and, sometimes it's better to be, it's better to be lucky than good. And I think this is one of those cases.
Yeah, definitely. This is one of those cases where the freeze absolutely turned the game around in a huge way.
Definitely. Because without that freeze, he would not have been granted the opportunity to even set up even just the focus energy. Because I
Yeah.
think Jash obviously would have just kept clicking avalanches, and at +6, that kills a non-defensive Kingdra very easily.
Yeah, definitely.
But overall, it's hard to be mad about this game. It was super tight. It was super cool to watch. And I think that crit Kingdra really came in, showed off its stuff. You're welcome, by the way, Big Honey. Um, I do hope you're able to keep making it work, because it is a fun set. It is super cool. Not obviously you don't get the benefit of being a Swift Swim Sweeper, but sometimes you don't need it. Just crit, forehead.
And just make your own Swift Swim, just agility, right?
Exactly. This is agility. This is truly agility at home. You can be twice as fast even in the snow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fastest seahorse in the West, I tell ya. But great game. Yeah, just that one little mishap, I think would have turned the tides into Big Honey's favor completely. As far as the early game was concerned, just not being able to find the purchase to pick up the Glastrier really hurt. And I don't remember if the Dusclops had Pain Split or not, but if it did, I think that's a better option than just going for that rest. Because that rest, when he did, felt a little unnecessary. Weaving in a Pain Split actually might have been okay, because he was about to run out of avalanches. So there was the opportunity to try and just stall it out just a little bit longer, to take away all of Jash's offensive pressure.
Definitely a couple of better plays that could have been made there, but all in all, I mean, yeah, I think, the Dusclops did go a little bit to waste, right?
Yeah, just a little bit, unfortunately. But still, overall, I felt good about seeing that game.
Yeah, that was a great almost comeback, right? It's one of those
yeah.
hype moments, even though it still ended in a loss for Big Honey.
If he nailed the one Mon reverse sweep, I think that would have been the hypest play of the season.
Yeah.
Literally coming back from the near the grasps of defeat and just nearly turning it all the way around. Absolutely, I think would have found its way into the kind of the Hall of Fame. But yeah, no, Big Honey, great stuff. I'm really looking forward to the rest of your season. Unfortunately, you are playing me this coming week. So good luck. We will both need it. I'll just say that right now. I'm being honest. I'm a little nervous because I know the potential of what this team could do. It scares me a bit. But I'll be upfront. I'm gonna play this week. I'm here to have fun, and I'm going to pick. I was telling him, just straight up. I was like, what? I'm gonna take Cramorant this week. Do you want to tech against it? Go for it. I don't give a shit. I'm gonna take Cramorant. I'm gonna put Cramorant on that leaderboard.
Really exciting.
Yep, this is a promise. I was teching a team actually when I got off work today, and I was like, you know what? I just started throwing some stuff together. JC saw me put it to throw the team a team idea together, and I was like, you know what? This could work. And it had Cramorant, Cricketune, and Squawkabilly on it.
Alright, now that sounds like fun.
I'm not sure. I don't know if that's what the final team's gonna be, but I assure you, Cramorant is on the final draft. Like it or not. And now we do have our last replay of the week, and oh man, this has been a long one. I'm feeling good that we're at the last one, and this is going to be the most exciting because this is the one that neither of us have any experience seeing. This game was actually being played while we were live here, and we didn't watch it because by the time I found out they were in game, it was partway through. So we will catch it now. And this is Hakurai versus Cat Bomb. So super. What the fuck? These are some teams, I tell ya. So we've got Cat Bomb's team, and I predicted this actually. I suspected Great Tusk and King Gambit, and I think even Espathra were going to come out this week, and I think I called Ditto. And then he actually brought the Vulpix Kyurem core, which is effectively just Ninetales at home.
Yeah, which
You
he
know.
did just trade for in this week. So this is a new pickup. Um, Glad to see it coming out here already.
Oh yeah, I think it's gonna pay. It might really put him in a really nice position this game, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
And Hakurai has
most
brought out the tech, according to him. Moltres,
Moltres.
Landorus, Incarnate, uh, Hisuian. Oh, this is just Overquill, straight up. Roaring Moon, Empoleon, and Archaludon. So really steel heavy here, really flying heavy here, for Haku, and
And
I I think this time I'm okay with it.
no Pelipper is very interesting here, considering he has both the Archaludon and the Overquill.
And
So
actually,
I'm interested
even
to see what the two sets are here.
oh, and even the Landorus, because if you go Sand Series, you can capitalize on that rain.
True, yeah. So
So
I'm very interested to see what the sets are.
yeah, this feels very mismatched because I would have imagined instead of Moltres, you go Pelipper, and then you capitalize on one of 3 different rain sweepers being Archaludon, Overquill, or Landorus. And then obviously you have Empoleon that can maybe not, get any kind of offensive advantage in speed in the rain, but boosting a Surf or a Hydro Pump still hits like a truck.
Yeah.
And of course, Roaring Moon is a bit of an all-star. This thing just does so well into a lot of teams.
Yeah. It's just so strong.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's just get into it. Let's see what this one goes. I'm actually going to slow the speed down because I want to take my time with this one. So leads are Vulpix versus the Moltres.
As expected here, kind of the
And the Rain Dance comes out to block the Aurora Veil.
Rain Dance Moltres is fascinating.
And the Hurricane does come out, chunking the Vulpix as a Baton Pass is clicked straight into a Spothra. Oh, that's so cool, actually. Archaludon gets swapped in here as what? A Spothra goes for a sub. Okay, that feels really smart here. Leftovers Recovery to bring it back up as the Speed Boost starts stacking and stacking. Protect is actually clicked here, which I think is actually super smart. It blocks the turn of that Electro Shot. Lets the Spothra continue to stack up then the speed behind that substitute. As he goes for just straight into a Calm Mind. I suspect this is another Electro Shot, and it is. Breaks the sub at +2. And the switch is called, actually, into Overquill, as the sub is just sent out again. I think the Overquill may have been a slight overprediction from Haku, but the switch back into Ninetales is really nice here. Or, sorry, Vulpix. As the crunch is clicked.
It's named Ninetales, which is hilarious.
Oh my, yeah, I think that's why I said it.
Yeah.
It was like the cognitive dissonance there. Kyurem does come out here, and I think it's actually in a really nice position, as Terra Fairy is clicked, actually, as Kyurem D-dances!
Dragon Dance!
But the Terra Blast comes out, actually, from Overquill, does a Delty chunk through Life Orb, but Kyurem still stands strong here, and I think it's because of that snow giving it that advantage.
Yeah.
And that's a loaded Die Icicle Spear with the 4 hits getting that KO very cleanly.
The defense boost from the snow really keeping Kyurem alive here. Now Empoleon is out.
Empoleon comes out here. It is Shuka Berry.
Shuka Berry.
Actually,
nice.
It doesn't take very much to start, as the Steel Beam is clicked.
Steel Beam Empoleon.
Feels very excessive.
That is wild. But not like the worst choice that I think could have been in this situation.
Mean, sure, yeah, I think it works.
Knockoff does break the sub here, so...
Actually really good, as the speed boost starts to stack, +1, as another sub is called.
Yeah, and he can just spam knockoff at this if it breaks the sub every time.
The thing is, though, because he can protect here to stall on another turn, get a little bit more recovery. And he is going to do that. My only issue so far is that he has Steel Beam and not Flash Cannon, because he dealt so much damage to the Kyurem already. Why would you need Steel Beam? That just puts you in an awkward position HP-wise.
I think he may have been expecting to be facing down the Kyurem from full HP with this Empoleon. In which
I
case, I think
suppose.
the Steel Beam is it's not a bad choice. But yeah, obviously not having the Flash Cannon here and taking the 50% does hurt. Substitute fails because of the Aqua Jet. That is a crazy.
Is this off like physical Empoleon?
Yeah, I think it might be. Seems
Because there's
like
no
it.
other way for that knockoff and Aqua Jet to do that much unless it's invested.
Actually,
Did he just
this
roll the
may
double
be... he did actually get the double protect
Oh
there.
my god, Capcom the scammer, bro.
This
Those are the switch into
Empoleon
Dit.
might actually be Torrent, now that I think about it.
Well, that's a good point, actually. Torrent would be active here.
Yeah.
Our Chaladon comes back in front of the...
the
Ditto.
late game Stealth Rocks from the
Setting
Ditto.
up, the Stealth Rock's coming out from Haku's own Mon feels a little disrespectful. Body Press's click doesn't do kind of anything into the Donphan. Wait a second.
Wait a minute.
Close Combat comes out, picks up the clean KO into the Empoleon. I mean, that's actually I like that sacrifice here. Because you don't want anything else to take too much damage, and it gives you a clean switch opportunity straight into Landorus, which I think is pretty okay. Psychic does get the KO, it was super effective, but also, I think that's just paving the way for the Gambit here. Supreme Overlord for 3.
Sharp.
Wait a second. Oh, the focus miss! As SD comes out.
It's a tragedy. Yeah, and this now is just...
That's...
I mean...
The...
Gambit doing Gambit things now.
Everyone and their mother knows what a King Gambit does.
Yeah.
BP comes
Body
out
press
chunks heavy
KO.
though, but no
Yeah.
KO. Brick Break!
Wow, Brick Brick, what attack!
Oh my god. That's so cool actually.
Not the low
Moltres
kick,
comes
too.
out and eats shit into Stealth Rocks. Sucker gets the KO.
Yeah, Sucker will KO. And no burn? No flame body?
Oh,
yeah,
tragic.
not quite.
It's never lucky. Roaring Moon comes out, gets the booster attack as Sucker's still... Oh my god, hello.
Oh my goodness.
Still chunked. 36 with the crit.
It
but who cares?
lives!
Oh my god.
That is...
Oh, 'cause-
it's so sad.
Hold on.
No, it didn't live because of the sash. It lived because
it
it
just
lived.
natural the 1%.
Oh, it's so
Ain't
sad.
no way.
Oh man, it's so
Oh
sad.
my god. Wow.
Wow.
That, oh my god. That King
And
Gambit's
this,
a
folks-
thief.
And this, folks, is why people hate Gambit.
True.
Oh, King Gambit did the King Gambit thing in this game, and
I can't
boy,
believe he King Gambited all over the place.
Yeah. Wow.
I mean,
wow. What a game.
I said it before, and I'll say it again. King Gambit can get away with fucking crimes. Like, you can actually just click kind of whatever you want, and you just have to go max attack, max HP, and you don't give a shit. Like,
Yeah, surviving at 1 HP is so tragic. Also missing the Focus Blast. Once again, why we don't trust Focus Blast in this house.
true. Yeah, I think I'm missing that Focus Blast really just, I think, killed this game. Because quad weak, Focus Blast with against a basically no invested, I assume, special defense, like 0 defense, King Gambit, like, this will just die. Unless he's max special defense and max attack, but that feels wrong. Wow, yeah, that Focus Blast needed to connect.
Yeah, that was definitely, I think, maybe the game losing turn.
I think so.
I maybe not,
Well,
because I don't know what other attacks.
No,
Spartan
hold on.
has.
It wouldn't have mattered because he had Focus Sash.
Oh, that's true.
It would have lived
yeah,
at
well,
1 anyway.
It would have lived at 1,
Because
but then
because he lives at 1 with the Swords Dance, and he would have still had the same attack power, and he just clicked Sucker Punch the same way.
he would have died to the Archaladon though if he couldn't KO with the Sucker Punch there, because he used Brick Break on the Archaladon and he still
That's true.
right?
He needed, and it wasn't. Yeah, okay, that's fair.
So it actually
It would have
did make a
changed the
difference.
end game.
Or potentially, yeah. It would have changed the way he approached those turns.
Because Archaladon comes in here, turn 26, end of 25. It's brought in, and then yeah, so it would have just been. Let me see here. 425. These are staying down each other. Yeah, body press would have hit. So it would have been a Spothra Ditto versus the Moltres, Roaring Moon, and Archaladon. Yeah, actually, no, it would have mattered because, yeah, he needed to be at full HP to live that body press. Oh wow, yeah, and then like, there's not much of a way for a Spothra to, I think, reasonably survive long enough to set back up. Especially not against the Roaring Moon and the Moltres took a lot of damage, but like the Roaring Moon I think is the scarier of the two. Like maybe the Ditto could have done something if it's a Scarfed variant, like your usual Imposter Choice Scarf Ditto, because it could have outsped the Roaring Moon and then killed. But like this game would have been, I think, very different in those last couple of turns. Damn. Well, that is very unfortunate actually for Haku. My heart goes out to the poor RNG on that final turn. And especially, because of how that went, the King Gambit living on a natural 1% really is offensive. Good lord.
Yeah, living at 1% is always the worst feeling. I mean,
it just stings.
Like,
it just stings.
Yeah. I just wonder if there's a different move that he could have clicked on this Roaring Moon to KO, right?
Potentially.
There has to have been something, I assume.
I can't think of what else it could have done, though, because if it's like a boost energy acrobatics variant, acrobatics not going to do jack to, a standard King Gambit. And your dragon options aren't great either, because it's still resistant being the steel type.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know if Roaring Moon gets Earthquake. That's a really important thing to consider. Because I think if it gets EQ, this would have been super different. But otherwise...
Yeah, if it was Earthquake and he just didn't hit Earthquake there, then that's like a huge misplay.
Yeah, because I'm actually looking it up real quick here. A number of standard Roaring Moon variants actually do take Earthquake or Stone Edge, and if it's Earthquake, that, like, why would you not just click it,
Yeah, I'm used to seeing knockoff Acrobatic Earthquake.
Yeah, because
as a 3 moves.
Because its Dragon move attacks are pretty bad, actually.
Yeah.
So you'd rather just get away with better coverage options and just better options, period. Yeah, wow. I'm curious to see if maybe the Roaring Moon just didn't have EQ? But
it has to have had something that was better than knockoff, though. Surely,
what,
right?
Like, was this to cover the Espathra switch in? But like, Espathra's on no HP. Earthquake would hit it.
Yeah. Well, even if it was to hit Espathra, like, Earthquake is just so much safer in every situation here, right?
Yeah.
Like,
there's also with Earthquake, you hit yourself in air quotes with the Ditto impostering.
Yeah,
Roaring Moon.
it hits the Ditto way more, right? And yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
There has to have been something better.
This play just felt weird.
Yeah. But I mean, even so, living at 1 HP still rough. But also, like, why'd you hit knockoff there, right?
Yeah, unfortunate. It was super close. I think, this goes to show Haku has the tech ideas. Like the Rain Dance Hurricane Moltres is very deranged, but into this matchup it was really
crazy.
cool.
Yeah, that's a wild switch, or like a wild tech.
Yeah, super cool adaptation specifically into this matchup. Knowing, this is a great option if Cat Bomb leads with that Vulpix to set up the snow, which he did. And the play went exactly as Haku predicted. But yeah, just a couple of odd plays here and there. I still think, Steel Beam on the Empoleon was a bit gratuitous. Because to me it's odd that you do Terra Fairy Overquill as a tech choice, followed by a Steel Beam Empoleon as a tech choice, knowing a Flash Cannon is obviously less power, but infinitely safer because you don't take the 50% to current HP. And you still have, obviously, 2 options, because if the Empoleon doesn't kill it in one shot, you have Overquill in the back to still kill it.
Right.
So it's like, why would you have it in such that one of them could just accidentally kill itself, But that is neither here nor there. The play worked. He did pick up the KO on the target he was hoping to. I just feel like maybe it was a little too much investment into the one, into the single enemy, as opposed to potentially diversifying that Empoleon just a touch. God, this thing, it is Aquajet knockoff Steel Beam.
Yeah, Aquajet knockoff Steel Beam is crazy. I wonder if the Steel Beam was actually also to take it into torrent range.
Well, I know if he was trying to just natural the Steel Beam into a fresh Kyurem, it wouldn't, because it only does 50.
Right.
And I think if his investment was slightly different from what I thought it would be, I think he actually could put himself into the torrent range, because he just needs to get down to like 32%.
Yeah, how much did the Earth Power do, right?
It didn't do very much, actually.
Yeah, it was like just enough with that and the Steel Beam to bring him into torrent range, right?
Yes, I believe so.
So maybe that was like a calc that he was going for.
That's possible.
Yeah.
Where's the Kyurem go down?
Also, can we talk about how it just hit me that this is a mixed Kyurem?
Wait a fucking second. Oh, it's mixed attacker Kyurem.
Yeah, this is.
It's EP, D-Dance, and Spear. Wait, that's so cool.
Which, that is a really cool tech, yeah, for sure.
I like that a lot, actually. Because, let's see, it comes in here. EP does... after the Shuka, does, like, 18. So actually, it wouldn't have brought itself down. Or no, actually, it was Xaxes. Right? It was Xaxes. Yeah. Dang, okay. So maybe that was a good adaptation. I'm not sure what the damage roll is there, though, is my only concern. Because if that's like a mid-roll, like a min-roll, then it's like, okay, well... That's actually pretty fortunate. But if that was like max roll, like reduced earth power, then it's like a little awkward, I feel like. But wow, still super cool stuff. Both these players showing, they're here to play. Haku's still whipping out, odd tech choices, and also not clicking Earthquake. But you know what? That's okay. Things happen.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a fan of this Overquill. Terra Fairy is actually a good adaptation, I think, into this, into his matchup for this week. I am inclined to, I usually just go your standard water because I want to capitalize on the Swift Swim to, boosting liquidation. But sure. The Terra Fairy is, a great option as far as flexing against dragon types, and into that Kyurem, that is something he, really wanted to account for.
Yeah, and Terra Fairy I think is really good on Overquill because of its struggles into dragon types, right? It doesn't have like really good coverage naturally into dragons, so just having that option.
Its sort of best option generally is clicking Gunk Shot, hoping you hit and hoping it does enough.
Yeah,
Going Terra Fairy, gives you an out, which is I think really smart.
Yeah, you get a nice little
kudos to
secondary option.
For sure. Yeah, so props to Haku actually for looking at that kind of innovation. My only concern with this team was it felt like it was too focused on that Kyurem, and I think in a way that sort of kind of let other things get through, like the King Gambit. Okay, the King Gambit was just RNG, but like I don't know. I'm inclined to think the game would have been closer without Empoleon needing to go to 30.
I mean, I think this game was already like very close as it is, right? Like,
Yeah,
it's,
Kingambit's
it
on
was
no
a
HP,
3-0.
Espathos on basically no HP.
Yeah. It's, yeah, like this is one of those games where it's like it says 3-0, but really it was like a 2-0 or 1-0.
Yeah,
Right?
this would be like a 1/2, basically, like a 1.5 or
Yeah.
something. Like the
Yeah.
Ditto's the only thing that's not critically damaged, and like the Gambit got stupid lucky, and the Espathos on basically like death's door. Anything would have killed it at this point.
Right. So, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, I wouldn't feel bad about this loss either. Like this was a really good showing for I think both teams.
Yeah. So obviously, these players were both undefeated until today. So Aku getting his first loss, still in very good position in the standings.
Hmm.
And Capcom continues to be an
Absolute menace with this draft. Very scary.
Oh yeah, I'm still pretty nervous because I'm playing Capcom I think in week 5, so that's gonna be a really interesting game. I guarantee he isn't prepared at all for the number of normal types I will take against him.
I'm sure.
Because I only see one fighting type in his team right now.
Hey.
And if I can kill fucking, you know, one of them, you know, if I
Get
kill
rid of
Great
that,
Tusk,
yeah.
and if he brings Sneasler against me and I knock out the Sneasler, I'm just saying, funny little snake can get there.
Yeah, I think notably you have a pretty good matchup into both of those, right? Because you have this funny little mon called Pecharon.
True.
And
He's a
both
funny
of his
little
fighting
guy.
types are physical attackers.
Oh, yes, and my 160 base physical defense will come in
Yeah,
play.
so I think, you know, I don't want to get too deep into next week's matchups, or, you know, 2 weeks from now matchups before we get there, but, like, yeah, I think you have, like, a really good leverage piece against that. So,
For sure. And you know what, we're gonna tuck that one back under wraps. We're gonna save it for next time.
yeah, we'll have some games tomorrow, I think. But yeah, we'll be back on the stream next Friday.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I think tomorrow actually we're gonna have a game between me and Big Honey to start off week 4, so that's gonna be super exciting. Hope you guys are there for that one. It's gonna be a good match. I know Big Honey has been working to put a team together. He actually picked up a couple trades to line things up. So we're gonna see how it goes. I'm a bit nervous because I think he's really starting to feel out his team, and I don't like that. I was
Yeah, I
hoping
think
for the easy dub, but you know, I think he's gonna make me work for it, as he should. So we will see how that one, you know, pans out. I'm quite excited. And I don't know what other games we're gonna have that day, so you know, we'll just have to see. Who else is around for that?
Yeah, I know I will not be around. I've unfortunately got an appointment in the morning, so
Skill issue.
yeah, I'll be playing my game a bit later in the week, maybe Sunday or Monday, because
Fair,
I'm off
fair.
on Monday. So,
Oh yeah, nice. We got a holiday. I'm looking forward to that.
yeah,
Have some big
yeah.
old bucks. Use them to pay for a
Still-
Japan ticket.
looking forward to the games.
Yeah, it's for sure gonna be a good week. I'm quite excited. But let me just navigate around here for a second, because I think something has broken, and I want to know why. Hold on, just a second, fellas. We're gonna check on a thing, because I'm curious. There's something didn't happen, and I think something may have broken, or I'm stupid. I may be stupid, bottom text.
No.
What the fuck? Why didn't it show the notification? You know, I'm looking at my chat and I know Midgar Merc just subscribed, but I didn't get the fucking notification.
Oh.
And I don't know why, and I do not have the prompt to, like it's not showing up anywhere. I'm so confused. For what reason? Well, that's very sad, but I appreciate the subscription, pal, and I will, you know what, we'll put it towards, eventually coming back to visit Japan. One of these days I will. I swear, mark my words. Maybe when I can afford it and I have time off, which will maybe be like 2025 or something. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for hanging out today. I really appreciate it. This kind of rounds out the third week of the league, and week 4 is shaping up to be a really exciting week. Some good matches are lined up. And I know for a fact mine is going to be spicy because I'm going to put fucking Cramorant on that leaderboard. I swear to God, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to get him up there. Cramorant 6-0. That's the dream. Never will happen. It's so cheap if you're on USD. You know what? I'll look into it. I'm very curious what the prices are these days. And I'm hoping they stay cheap because the yen needs to stay broken so I can afford a cheap flight. But anyway, guys, tune in tomorrow. I think there should be a stream at a very odd hour in the morning, like maybe 10 or 11 in the morning Hawaii time. So figure that out for yourself. $1 to 150 yen? Fuck, why am I here? I should be on a plane. Those are so fucking cheap. We'll use this knowledge. I'm gonna probably buy yen and save. Anyway, guys.
Yeah.
I am gonna close out here. I'm gonna definitely real quick. Well, thank you guys again for hanging out. Really appreciate it. I do really, I hope you guys are enjoying the content. It's a slow, stream as long as the league is going, but hey, it's still dripping out. And yeah, all these replays are going to be uploaded to my YouTube channel because Twitch likes to delete VODs after a certain amount of time. So at the very least, these will be documented there for, at the very least, my own purposes. Feel free to subscribe there on YouTube if you want. I don't really care. But anyway, guys, like I said, thank you. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day, morning, evening, whatever. And hope to see you guys in the next one. Yeah.